1991 was one of the greatest years of rock and roll, but 1992 wasn't all that bad either. Music was branching out into all sorts of different cool directions, and we got to hear grunge and alternative bands from Alice in Chains and Faith No More, White Zombie, Soul Asylum, and the Gin Blossoms. We heard debut albums from Rage Against the Machine, Stone Temple Pilots, and Body Count. Industrial music was taking off with Psalm 69 by Ministry and Broken by Nine Inch Nails. Pantera redefined themselves and released one of the best heavy metal albums of all time. We had 2 albums from Bruce Springsteen, and Dr. Dre released one of the most influential and popular hip-hop records ever made. On today's episode of Prisoners of Rock and Roll, we're following up on last year's episode on 1991 by taking a look at the music in 1992. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Prisoners of Rock and Roll, episode number 33.
Yeah.
I'm Bruce Kramer, and I'm joined by my co-hosts and good friends, 2 guys that are dumb enough to trust me to steer this shit. The Duke of Drums, Ryan McCusker, and the boss of bass, Mr. Doug McCusker.
What's up, everybody?
Are you rocking out there?
All I want to do is a zoom, 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 and a boom, boom.
Just shake your rump.
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia, and our show is proud members of the Pantheon Podcast Network, which is the network for amazing music commentary. Man, for this episode, we decided to jump into Mr. Peabody's Wayback Machine and go back to 1992. So what, the 3 of us were sophomores in high school.
Wow. Dude, there were so many awesome albums out. It was so diverse. If you look what was put out in 91, and it was kind of bubblegum, and 92 is just real, like, heavy.
Like, a lot of things changed, like you said in the monologue, like with Dr. Dre making one of the greatest rap albums of all time. There's 2 other bands that changed metal, in my opinion, that year.
Yeah, man. So we did an episode on 1991 last year, and we talked about all the Nevermind and 10 and all that other stuff. Maybe before we start, we're going to go back into, let's get into character here. Hang on. Here we go, back to all the way back to 1992.
Yeah.
I got my my Jenkos on.
Oh, there you are.
I got my Jordans.
I got my flannel. I'm working.
do have a flannel.
I do have a flannel on. All right, we're back in 1992. I'm a shitty teenager I'm a shitty sophomore in high school with really bad long hair. But yeah, man, I feel like in this year, like, music started branching out into all these other directions. It was really hard to put this stuff into any sort of order to talk about because it was like,
it's so diverse.
Some of the shit, it was like, what is Faith No More? Are they an alternative band? Are they rock band? Are they grunge band?
I thought they were one of the first alternative bands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Like, what the hell is it? Like, and there was a whole shitload of these, man. We were making this huge list. I'm like, okay, cool. How do you put this in any sort of order? What is White Zombie? Are they a metal band? Are they an alternative band? Like, is Soul Asylum a grunge band? There was a ton of these guys.
It seemed like the label thing, like, how that label grunge came around, even though it's a year later.
Yeah.
Like that whole label thing kind of started, like, kind of disappearing a little bit, but yeah, we'll talk about that.
It seemed like in the 90s, like, everything had, like, a label. There was gangster rap. There was
G-Funk,
right. It was all over the place.
I think this was going back through this, dude. I had so much fun because, like, we put together, we share the notes during the 2 weeks that we're off, and we're putting together the playlist and an outline. And there were so many of these albums that I was like, oh my God, I had this on cassette and on CD.
Yeah.
It was like, I think this is the first year I got really, really, really into music. Cause there were so many of these that there was at least 3 albums on here that the cassette tape broke and I went and bought it on a CD.
It was a different version of music for me. Everything got a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. Like, everything started changing. Like, music started changing. Like, it's, I guess that's a good example. I say that, but, my taste in music's definitely started changing in that. Like Dre was like, I listened to the Beastie Boys when I was young and everything like that, but I never listened to a lot of hip hop. But when the Chronic came out, that was a kind of an opening door to me to hip hop.
Yeah, definitely. This is where, like, hip hop gets into the suburbs,
and it's real.
Like white kids like us listening
absolutely.
to it. Yeah, man. Even going back through this, there's still stuff on here that I still listen to today, and then there's stuff that I haven't listened to in 20 years they were like hardcore part of my like musical rotation back when I was in high school. And I enjoyed so much going back and listening to some of this stuff.
It's like I didn't really have to listen to the playlist that much because it's like I know it so well. It's like we lived through it.
Yeah.
I just got so excited about this. And it wasn't, this isn't one of the nerd episodes where it's like, we're trying to learn a whole lot about something. It was just a really fun
just
trip.
remind everybody how awesome it was in 92. Yeah. It's just like
cool.
way back.
Yeah. So I've got the outline in front of me, man. I guess the first thing we're going to talk about is that grunge continues in 1992, right? So you had Nevermind, 10, that stuff all comes out, everything changes. Nevermind is like, I think Nevermind went number 1, like the real beginning, like in January.
So this is like the year that they start selling flannels and Sears and in Macy's and everything like that. Like the culture is really like all over the place of the grunge.
I thought it was so diverse on MTV. They had their hands in every kind of music, at that time.
So Nevermind is all blown up. And I don't have these in any sort of chronological order, but the biggest debut I think we got from an alternative band or a grunge band was Stone Temple Pilots.
Sure, that was a huge hit.
Core comes out, man. Let's play a little bit of that. Here you go. Here's a little bit of Wicked Garden. Man, so that album, all right, it came out in September, so we're going to jump all over the place, but fuck it, it's my show.
Yeah, who cares?
Right. Dude, that album, man, it went like 8 times platinum. I can't think of another band that had like, their first 3 albums were all
huge.
Killer
Huge
albums.
They were all huge. I wasn't a fan of them, but I did recognize how big they were. Everything they did turned into a hit.
The guys over at Imbalanced History of Rock and Roll on their show on Pantheon, they did something on it was like, who are your top 5 bands that had their first 2 albums were just killer? And one of the guys said Stone Temple Pilots, and I was like, oh, right on, man, because their first 2 were just crushing.
Yeah,
the top 3.
Can't deny it.
When they debuted, they weren't very well accepted because Sex Type Thing and like there was a lot of undertones in that song and everything like that.
And Plush sounded like, I remember watching that video and thinking that's the new Pearl Jam song.
Yeah, that was like the big thing. That was another
what the
big
hell
thing.
did Eddie Vedder do with his hair? Because Scott Weiland's hair was like bright red. And,
He was like chubby, a little chubbier then.
I thought it was them.
Yeah.
But it was funny. Their first tour that they did, they opened for Megadeth. So they, like I said earlier, like they had a lot of bad press because like I guess Sex Type things about like I guess like women beating or something like that. So Dave Mustaine, I remember watching on Headbangers Ball. Dave Mustaine gets up there and says, "Listen, a lot of people don't like our opening band, Stone Temple Pilots, but guess what? We do, and we don't give a shit if anybody likes them. We like them."
They became a huge band.
Yeah.
Rolling Stone, like I would think it was like the next year, they the critics voted them the worst new band of the year, which is crazy now because they're like
iconic.
a staple of right.
Ryan McCusker of 1992 would agree with that.
Really?
Yeah. Yes.
I from the beginning I liked them.
I did too. I saw them. I've seen them a handful of times.
I just thought they were. I was such a huge Pearl Jam fan. I just thought they were a ripoff.
Okay.
I mean, giving it up to Scott Weiland over all the years, he's a brilliant vocalist.
Yeah.
Every song he sings is a different style.
I thought they were a little dirtier than Pearl Jam. Like a little like heavier,
more heroinish.
Yeah, right. A little bit more Tylenol, a little bit more Robitussin.
But the band by itself, like the two brothers, a bass player and a guitar player. I forget what their last name is, but the bass player, he's an amazing musician. Like he's one of the best in the business, and he doesn't get the recognition. They're just an amazing band. Like
I like them a lot. Another band that just got like their head cut off because he died. They've been trying to keep going. They had that band like Talk
Show. I bought that
Show.
I bought that at Tower Records when it came out. By the time from Cherry Hill back to Haddon Heights, I had a couple people in the car. I was like,
threw it out the window.
I was like, who wants this? My buddy's little sister took it. I was like, I don't even want this.
The thing that sticks me out in my head after Scott Weiland died, they got that dude from Linkin Park to sing in the band.
Yeah, dude.
Maybe they should call it quits. Maybe they should call it quits.
We talked about that in one episode, right?
But now
Chester Bennington. Did
he sang for them for a real
But now they
fast.
have another guy now too. They're still going.
They're still on the road.
And the guy's not bad. Like
Yeah.
he's not bad.
They should just get a clone of whatever Scott Weiland.
Yeah. Right, which is a clone of Eddie Vedder.
Yes.
All right. Let's just keep moving. Dude, we got so much fucking music to talk about. I think we're going to move quickly. But if there's something you guys want to talk about, let's pull over and talk about it. The other band that came out, man, this wasn't a debut, but this was another grunge heavy metal album. I'll just play a little bit and we'll talk about it. So we're talking about Alice in Chains, the album Dirt. I love this album. I still listen to it. They're one of my favorite bands from the 90s. I know, Doug, you said before that
It's not my thing.
You think they're kind of a hair band,
leftover hair band. But that's just my opinion. Especially on that album.
I think they're more way talented than just a hair band.
No, now they are. Like,
their songs outlasted.
Yeah,
their songs are way too good.
Yeah. I love that song. That there's no. It's just like pow. It just punches you right in. It goes right into that riff. There's
I just remember him with those sunglasses on. He looked like the Bug.
Yeah, I aspired to have that look when I was in college, man. I had
we all did, man.
I had the goatee, and
we all did.
I'm like, yeah. Dude, I totally remember this. Like, Man in the Box came out. I didn't like it. I thought the video was freaky with the eyes sewn shut.
Yeah, sure.
But I remember walking into a Tower Records and they were playing Wood off of the single soundtrack, and I totally remember stopping and just going. I was there with my dad. I remember stopping and going, I need this.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know what this is. And I think that might have been the first time that ever happened to me. I was in a music store. I heard something. I'm like, I need this album right now. And I bought it on tape.
Yeah. The singles was a big thing to me. What was that Wood was a huge song.
Yeah.
It was like, I was like, holy shit. I don't really like this band, but I really like this song.
Yeah. And they had two, like the Sap EP came out in February and then this came out in September. So they had two things that came out during the year. All these bands became huge because of MTV, right? Beavis and Butthead. Yeah. Like there was videos for Them Bones, Wood, Angry Chair, Rooster, Down in a Hole.
They were huge, dude.
They were huge,
and they deserve everything in part. That 3-part harmony that everybody start copying off of them.
But it's funny when they came out, nobody knew how to make heads or tails of it. Ryan and myself, we saw them open up for Van Halen for For All North or Calling Knowledge tour. They literally got booed off the stage.
You guys said that before
because nobody got it. Nobody.
Eddie's fans were not ready.
Yeah, they were just like, nobody. What is this? This is just Lane was really talking a lot of crap.
He said, "Go fuck yourself, Philly."
But he did. But
he didn't like the cocaine, like Chris Martin.
He didn't
like our heroin.
He didn't like our heroin. But people just didn't get it. I guess the same thing when Stone Temple Pilots came out, that people weren't getting it in the beginning.
But look how big they got.
I know, absolutely.
And they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think they'll
Alice in Chains.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think that train's coming.
Yeah,
if there's any justice.
I'm not a huge fan of them.
Yeah,
but I definitely think they did something different.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm like shit.
Yeah.
I'm probably the biggest fan out of the three of us, and I was like, okay, I don't know about that, but okay.
Yeah, totally.
You got to recognize it.
I mean, we talked, and go back and listen to our episode on the MTV Unplugged. We talked about this a lot, man. Their MTV Unplugged was one of the greatest ones that was ever produced.
It's the only Alice in Chains album I ever bought. I think I said that on the Unplugged album, but that's fantastic album.
I'm a huge fan, man. I have all their albums. I have their box set. I have all that other stuff.
I mean, Jerry Cantrell has some great
his
solo
stuff is great, man.
Yeah.
And that's another point too. Like
he's the brainchild of that whole thing, of
Alice in Chains.
Yeah,
and they really had like two singers too. Because he would sing some stuff. And, you said the harmonies.
Yeah, the 3-part harmony, man. It was It was so recognizable.
Really talented dude. And the fact that they carried on, I mean, they were out of the limelight, man, for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm. And they came
back with that dude, William Duvall.
And he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. I remember they were opening up for Velvet Revolver, and I was like, I got to go in and see how good this is. And I go in, and it starts, and the new singer starts singing. Everybody's looking at each other like, holy shit, I can't believe they make a comeback.
Whenever we get around to doing the episode on concert stories, I think seeing them is one of my strangest. I was like, there was a midget and a topless transvestite.
Nice.
At the show? On the stage?
No,
Oh,
like,
on the
no,
stage?
Like
Oh.
in my personal interaction, my circle, where ended with a transvestite saying, "Do you want to see my boobs?" and me saying, "Nice tits, dude." I swear to God, that's true. I'll tell the story whenever we get to. Whenever I tell the story about Jewel calling me a rude son of a bitch, and the person saying, "Do you want to see my boobs?" and me going, "No, actually, yeah, I do." And then, "Nice tits, dude."
Jesus Christ.
All right.
In the transgender world.
It is a transgender world. This was like, yeah, it was, all right, never mind. All right. If I'm moving too fast, guys,
No,
just
keep it
stop.
rolling. We got a lot
All
to talk about.
The next one, dude, that we have on the list, man, is L7. This was an awesome album, dude.
I don't know anything about them.
Hang on, let me play.
play their
Let's play a
song.
little bit of it. This is 30 Seconds of Pretend We're Dead.
What's up with what's going down in every city and every town? Rampant styles is the plan. They've got us in the palm of their many hands. When we pretend that we're dead. When we pretend.
Dude, it's an awesome album, man.
Yeah.
I didn't do a whole lot of research on any of this shit because I wanted to just kind of like
Yeah,
off the
go
cuff
with it.
and my vibe. But this was produced by Butch Vig, who did Nevermind. He was
Okay.
the producer of
Oh,
Nevermind.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
also
yeah.
one of the
I
guys
know
in
who he
Garbage.
is. Yes.
Yeah, it's like
Yes.
one of the most famous.
Yeah.
Like, and you kind of hear it now. Like, all right, that's
Yeah.
that's a classic
Sound.
grunge sound. That crunchy. It's almost kind of like it's like punk if you played a 45 and you slowed it down real far.
Sure.
It
Yeah.
just has a great sound
That's-
to it.
um,
A
like-
muddy sound.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this band. It's the only song I know by them. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't.
The
you know,
only thing that I know really about this band is when the chick at the concert at her show threw a tampon.
Threw the-
That's all I. Yeah, that's all I remember.
She
her
threw
by.
a used tampon in the crowd.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, whenever I hear somebody say L7, that's the first thing I think of.
Yeah.
You know, I watched a great documentary on L7, and they really, really put their time in. They are a true punk rock metal band.
Yeah, that's what I put on here. Like classic '90s sound, punk rock sound. Well, you just said muddy, dude. That's a perfect like definition of of grunge. Is that muddy? It's almost like punk, but it's slowed down a whole lot.
Yeah.
And it's like you loosen the strings on it, on everything a lot.
Everything's drop D.
Yeah,
But it
interesting.
definitely has a place for it, though. Like, I haven't heard that song in a long time. I was
Great
happy to hear
song,
it. I was
yeah.
happy. It is a great song.
I'm going to listen to that, and I'm going to go listen to Nevermind.
The only other thing I remember from them is there's a they're in the Natural Born Killer soundtrack. They play it in the background while like one of the first things that when they're killing everybody.
Have you ever seen the movie Serial Mom?
I have not.
It's a great
What
movie.
is that on Pornhub?
No, it's not. It's a John Waters movie.
Oh, okay.
And they play a band on stage.
Okay.
yeah, we just watched that.
That's
not
a
too long ago.
great
It's
movie.
a great movie.
Oh, what
Kathleen
an awesome
Turner's
movie.
great.
Yeah,
She's-
Kathleen Turner. Pussy Willows.
This was a cool song that I haven't
Yeah,
heard
no, I
listened to in
think
a
it's
long
great.
time.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, awesome. All right, man. Moving on. I've got the last song in the alternative or in the grunge section. Before we start, this is Soul Asylum, Grave Dancers Union.
One of my favorite albums of that 92, baby.
Is this a grunge is they a grunge album?
Yeah,
There's
they're still
something.
hanging
There's
in there.
something like that,
They're
man.
they're teetering on it. You know.
Man, they were one of my favorite bands. Grave
Yeah.
Dancer Union was such an awesome
Yeah,
album.
you played the hell out of this.
I played the
album.
hell out of it. I loved it more than I loved any other alternative. I loved it more than I loved Alice in Chains.
Oh, really? This is your favorite
Yeah.
album?
Yeah.
I can back that
Totally.
Up. Yeah,
Awesome.
Totally.
All right, let's play it. Here's 30 seconds of Somebody to Shove, and then I'd love to hear why you have such an affinity for it.
In the sky, suddenly he breaks into song. I'm waiting by the phone, waiting for you to call me up and tell me I'm not alone. Waiting by the phone, waiting for you to call me up and tell me I'm not alone.
Great song.
Great song.
Yeah, man. So what about this band just you dig so much?
They are a true rock and roll garage band. They are what rock and roll is. Like I remember when I first heard Someone to Shove that intro, I was like hooked right away. And then they had that drum part.
Yeah.
You know, and right around then I would start playing the drums. And that I remember the first cover band I was in, that was one of the first songs that I played, you know.
And it's like a playoff on like I Need Somebody to Love. Right?
Oh,
like
sure,
a little,
yeah.
little like punk
But it was
spin-off.
that's exactly what it was, a punk pop song, and it opened the doors for more punk kind of stuff to me, you know?
Like, I really do enjoy that song. Like what Ryan said, everything about that song is great. But they also had that other song, the Runaway Train song. And
That
that
was a
song,
huge song.
that song was
That was
bigger.
huge.
That was the biggest song that year. And what people forget, dude, that song was so big. Dude, Soul Asylum played the White House when Clinton got his inauguration, the first barbecue they had or whatever they do at the White House. Soul Asylum played the
Well,
lawn.
they took that video, that train video,
Yeah.
and put all those missing children posters up in the video, and they had the hotline number at the end of the video.
Yeah, you know what I read about that, man? This is one of the songs I actually did a little bit of research because I remember that. So the video would have little clips of missing children. At the end, it would say you could call. At some point, MTV cut that out because they were afraid it was going to be taken as a public service announcement. And they're like, "We're playing a music video," which is really like shitbag.
Dude, they're shitbags of the week.
Right.
MTV shitbag of the
Hang
week.
on, we can play the shitbag of the week. Shitbag of the week.
Dun, dun, dun. MTV.
I don't understand why they would do that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but also like so. Then I looked up.
But
they
they'll
said
do the
that
choose or lose. No
yeah.
problem. Choose
Right.
or lose.
But I said the director of that video said that they have found 26 of the kids
Yeah,
that
that's
were
amazing.
featured in that. And they had different, like, regional, like, if you lived in, like, Arizona, they would play a different video because they would have different kids.
Oh, wow.
Some
Oh,
of the
really?
kids,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Some of the kids that they found were, unfortunately, they found their bodies because
Yeah.
they were murdered.
Yeah.
But there's some really fucked up stories of, like,
Sure.
of that.
For
but-
them to dedicate a video to that, that's pretty amazing.
And you think
Yeah.
this is before the internet, you know? I mean,
Right,
so
yeah,
this
yeah,
is
right,
this
right,
is
right.
a huge accomplishment,
Yeah.
you know, for the band or whatever the cause.
Which is really cool, man. Like, you're going to spend that time. You're like, okay, well, if you live in California, you're probably not going to find a kid
Yeah.
who's missing from New
Philadelphia,
Jersey, Philadelphia.
yeah.
So we'll make a regional
Yeah.
video.
Whoever the director was for that video,
it was an idea. Whoever's
whoever's idea
Yeah.
was, it was brilliant.
Yeah, really cool, man.
Changed a lot of people's lives.
All right, so I think that's like the grunge bucket. The logical spin over would be into alternative because I'm like with Soul Asylum. Like you could argue they're an alternative band, they're a grunge band, but this is a band that I have no fucking idea where they belong, and that is Faith No More. This is one of my favorite albums
Absolutely, Angel Dust
of
is
all
amazing.
time.
Yeah,
It's
Angel Dust is a great
Second
album.
I heard, the first time I saw the video, their first video for it, I was just sold.
Yeah, that's my notes where I just wrote, I love this album. It's heavy, it's quirky.
Everything about this album is heavy.
And it's so much better than the first album. Like, they evolved.
They
You know what I
seem
mean?
like they had more time to experiment in the studio.
Yeah. I also, the album before this with the real thing, I played that till that tape broke.
Yeah,
too.
I played it. I played
And I
all
had
of
this on cassette till it broke, and then I bought
Yeah.
the CD. This was one of those, I don't know if you guys ever did this. Remember the CDs came in those long boxes?
Sure.
I used to cut out the
yeah,
long
yeah.
boxes and
Yeah,
I would
and
hang them on my wall.
Yeah.
And I totally remember having this one, man. Let me play a little bit of Midlife Crisis.
I think he has the best voice of the 90s.
I went back and listened to this whole album again when this came out, dude, and I was like, it was like connecting with old friends again.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
like going to a high school reunion and talking to somebody that I haven't seen in 20 years. I so enjoyed listening to this again.
Every song on that album.
Just hearing
is
that
great.
song is just like a flashback. Like, you just
Yeah,
have
man.
flashbacks the first time
Absolutely.
you heard it, you know.
It wasn't on. I think it's on there now, like on Spotify. But their cover "Easy"
Oh,
is
That was
so
that was
much.
a
much-
take
yeah.
out of this.
It's
It
so
was like
much.
an off-
It's so
yeah.
easy, man. It's such a great album.
He's awesome, dude.
He's a weird dude.
Yeah,
Never-
we haven't talked about him very much on the show
Dude,
yet.
he's like he has an Italian opera album out.
Does he really?
Yes, he does.
He
And then
has-
he's Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, he's
an
really
artist.
eccentric. He's really talented. They also had that dude, the guitar player, Jim Martin, the guy with the
Yeah,
red
he's
glasses, who
amazing.
was in
Yeah.
Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventures.
Yeah.
This the
He-
next album was the last one he was in.
And I didn't, find this for years and years and years. He was like Cliff Burton, one of Cliff Burton's best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like,
He
was
always
a-
wore the T-shirt in the videos.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah, Cliff
one of his
Burton.
best friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, even Metallica back in the day, they'd be wearing Faith No More shirts.
Yeah.
There's always those pictures of James.
Yeah, with the white shirt.
Because they, with their original singer, Mike Patton wasn't the original singer. They have a singer before that.
Yes, the song "We Care a Lot."
I don't know. I never
Yeah.
listened to it.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
an African American guy.
Yeah.
Um,
yeah.
They also very briefly had another singer named Courtney Love.
Did
Really?
They kind of like she got up on stage and did a couple songs with them. So yeah,
Did you steal more of Kurt's songs? Like, oh, I
Right.
wrote this song
Right.
too.
yeah. Their first album, "We Care a Lot," was like it's. I'll play it when we take a commercial break. It's got like it's heavier and slower, and Mike Patton's just a way better.
He's
he
an
fits for that.
amazing singer. He's
He
so
was just-
underrated.
He was driving that bus, man. They're another band. They put out like 3 really good albums, and it just kind of like just flamed out.
I
They
saw
were-
them later in their career, and they were an amazing show. They were an
they were
amazing
in
show.
Philly a couple years
A couple
ago.
years ago,
Yeah.
they got
Oh,
together.
Oh yeah,
they
they played the
They
man.
played the man.
I
Yeah.
heard they were awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wanted to go to that, and I didn't. I don't remember why. I mean, I could talk about that album for an hour. Another band that I had on. Do you guys listen to Pavement?
I have.
Yeah, sure.
I put them on here. And like I was never like a huge fan, but also I think that they're really important. It was like
Yeah,
one of the
definitely.
the band Pavement. I put them on here just because I think that's an important album in terms of alternative music, and it's also an indie album that I think it was like one of the best selling indie releases. Here's 30 seconds of Summer Babe the winter version off of Slanted and Enchanted.
Ice, baby. I saw your girlfriend and she's eating her fingers like they're just another meal. But she waits.
It's different. It's got a Lou Reed thing going on with it. Like, you know, his voice,
yeah,
you
and
know.
that muddy sound
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
you talked about. Yeah, Lou Reed.
I was never really into Pavement back then. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed
They
it.
had hardcore street credit.
Yeah, they did.
You know.
They were like Fugazi was
Fugazi,
like that,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Fugazi, like a band that like nobody knew about, but
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
knew, you thought you were cool. Like
Yeah.
the Muddy Boston's were like that for a
Yeah,
while
yeah.
too. Before
I put
they-
Helmet
they-
in that.
they have
in
like
that
a-
category.
Helmet was like
was in
that,
that
yeah.
category also.
like a cult following.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I just put classic '90s alternative sound, a little bit of that real messy garage sound to it.
I was always under the impression that they were a heavier band, like kind of like Helmet. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
like-
they're not. Yeah,
They're
They're
not
more like
yeah.
120 minutes.
Yeah.
MTV
Yeah.
120 minute.
I'm gonna
that
jump.
kinda-
Yeah, I'm gonna jump into that. I'm gonna listen to a little bit more Pavement.
yeah. I hadn't listened to that album. I listened to the one after this. They had that song "Cut Your Hair"
Mhm.
on it. That was on 120 minutes a
I'm
lot.
sure it was.
And I went back and listened to this one, and I enjoyed it. It was something like I kind of glanced over as a kid and went back and was like, I was digging it.
Did you buy this when it came out?
I didn't.
Okay.
I haven't listened to it till 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I remember
said
the
I
album
was-
cover.
I do
Like,
too.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it's like it's messy. Right?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
writing on it, like half the writing's cut off. Yeah, worth
No,
digging up
yeah.
and dusting
Yeah,
off.
Discovering stuff 30 years later.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's great.
Yeah. Do you guys listen to Sonic Youth?
Eh.
Enough to know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They have a different kind of sound. They're really
Should we
alternative.
play it?
Yeah, sure,
I,
yeah.
I,
No,
never
no,
got, I
absolutely.
never got into them.
Maybe Rob
They're-
Owens never heard them.
But
Let's play it.
they're highly respected band, Sonic.
Here's Sugar Cane off of Dirty.
You're perfect in the way, a perfect in today. They're burning out their lights and burning in their eyes. I love you, sugar.
I don't know, man. There's something about that.
Dude, I bet you Kate Bush fans love this.
But Sonic Youth, man, they get a lot of street credit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they
totally.
get total. Like, people love Sonic Youth. The bass player, she's a woman. She dated Kurt Cobain before Courtney Love got his claws in the.
Remember that band, The Breeders?
Sure.
Yeah, Cannibal. Like Kim Gordon, the bass player in Sonic Youth, she's in that. So
That's
she's
exactly
yeah,
what.
yeah. So,
But no, they
I
get
think
their.
that's
I
right.
like that. I like their sound.
Yeah, people love them. Like, they're.
I remember Doug and I recorded an album, and our producer name is Mike Rochelle, and he was telling us how Pavement came in and did a live show in the studio, and they're like these. You don't know how they even make a sound. Like their equipment is so old and so beat up and everything. But whatever they do, the sound they do worked.
Pavement, not Sonic Youth.
No, Sonic Youth.
Okay,
yeah,
you
you
said
said
pavement.
Okay.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
guys.
okay. Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
No,
it's all
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
like Sonic Youth came in and played, and he was like, I don't know how they do it, but they make it work.
But like you were saying with their equipment, this and that, dude, that's part of the sound. Like
Yeah.
I remember back then, people were going out searching for like
Old beat the shit.
beat the
stuff.
shit of stuff that was made like in the 70s and like early 80s and like really grabbing all this stuff because they don't make it anymore. You know, so you have a sound that nobody else is doing because nobody has that kind of equipment. You know,
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes all the way back to like somebody like Charlie Watts' drums. Those cymbals that he used were vintage.
yeah.
You know.
Again, Sonic Youth, they were a huge deal.
Yeah,
They
they
still are.
still have a great underground following.
Yeah, they're almost like the Velvet Underground in the '90s.
Yeah.
Like that kind of like you got to be into that music. You're not a casual music fan and like are really into them.
I thought you would have been really into
Yeah,
them.
I
Bruce.
just-
for some
Yeah,
reason.
you're picky out. You know,
Yeah,
I
picky
did,
out.
For
right.
some reason, I thought that would be like Sonic Youth would be like one of your bands that you grew up on or,
Yeah,
or
and I'm
speak
like-
fondly of anyway.
And I don't dislike them. I just
Yeah,
I just didn't.
yeah,
I never
no.
invested the time
Yeah.
just to listen to them.
Yeah.
And even now, I was kind of like, like I played it
Yeah.
and I was like, all right, it sounds like some other shit.
I dig
Yeah,
it.
from '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Let's move on.
So I'm going to keep moving on. Let's talk about another, more of a poppy band that had a huge album, and that was the Gin Blossoms. I really like this album.
You have
man.
this band on our notes. You have it as alternative. I think you had it on the
Yeah, so we're in the alternative bucket. Are they? Like, are they
no,
pop?
they're a pop band.
Are they,
And-
like-
but this is a band. I was on board the first time I
Yeah,
started.
This
Hey,
album,
Chelsea.
their first album was
Yeah.
a great pop album.
Dude, they
And
had
this
like
is-
5 hits off of it.
Again, like you try to put this stuff in buckets, and it's like, okay, this is like. Is Toad the Wet Sprocket alternative? Are they a pop band? You know, there's a whole shitload of
Yeah.
these like Hootie and the Blowfish,
Yeah.
like kind of like
Yeah.
they get called alternative because they
Yeah.
were
Around
pop
the-
music,
yeah.
right? Like they wore flannel shirts to their alternative music, but dude, just solid classic. My notes to say classic '90s alternative rock band.
Can we hear?
Yeah, dude, here we go. And we could have played any one of like 5 songs off of this
Sure.
album, but here you go.
Tell me, do you think it'd be alright if I could just crash here tonight? You could see I'm no sheep for driving. And anyway, I've got no place to go. Yet you know it might not be that bad. You were the best I'd ever had. If I hadn't blown the whole thing years ago, it may not be love. Tomorrow we could drive around this.
I think me and Doug played that in every single
Every single
band.
band.
Every single
And I
band that
think
we've
the one-
ever played in.
Yeah, and I think we even tried to attempt it in this band that we're in now.
I love it. I love this album.
No, the whole album's great. Like I said, I was on board.
What were you saying, Bruce?
Yeah. All right. So this is the only album that I did some research on because I remember hearing that there was like a sad story around it. So I looked it up, and this is rather depressing. But one of the founders of the Gin Blossoms was a guy named Doug Hopkins. He was the lead guitarist and he was the main songwriter. He wrote this song. He wrote "Found Out About You," all the kind of hits. But the dude he had depression and he was a really, really bad alcoholic. And he didn't want the band even to sign to a record label. He was like, no, they're going to tell us what to do.
Sure.
They're going to override all of our shit. So there was kind of like some
Truth there.
animosity.
Yeah.
Some,
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So as they're recording this album, the record label was like, dude, he's a drunk. He's got to go. And the band was getting fed up with his shit. So the band goes to him and he was supposed to get like 15 grand off like the advance of the album. And they knew he was really, really hard up with money. So the band goes to him and goes like, dude, you're out. And we're not
horrible.
giving you the 15 grand unless you sign over your publishing rights.
That's horrible.
Jesus
Are they?
Christ.
We have 2 shitbags in them.
Or half of your publishing rights and your royalties.
Wow.
'Cause knowing that the guy is in a tough spot.
I always
And-
kind of knew that, and I always like as much as I do like the band.
I'm never going to listen to that album again.
It's just like I always kind of like fucking remember that, like
Yeah.
hearing
Yeah.
that story.
All right, so we're going to make them this
Second bag.
They're a
Second-
shitbag of the
Okay,
week.
here we go. Shitbag of the week.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right, so the dude got kicked out of the band, and then the band takes off. And he gets
they
in a
were
car
fucking
and he
huge.
drives somewhere, and he hears the fucking song on the radio. And the original lyric for Hey Jealousy was about like, you can trust me not to think and not to sleep around. If you don't expect too much from me, you won't get let down. The original lyric was, you can trust me not to drink because he was an alcoholic.
Right.
So it was about him. And you think about that in that context, like, that's a pretty dark, like,
Sure.
you can trust me not to drink and not to sleep around. If you don't expect too much from me, you won't get let down.
Right.
Like,
That is dark.
it's kind of, right?
Dude,
It's really a happy sounding song
Yeah.
with a dark.
But it's great though. It's a great lyric. You know?
Right, right.
It's
So-
honest.
So they sent him the gold record, and he had the gold record on his wall. And the more he heard this shit on the radio all the time, at one point he said he came home.
Oh, I go crazy.
And he ripped it off the wall and he smashed it.
Dude, I wouldn't be able to live with it. Like,
And then he went and he got a 38 out of a pawn shop and he killed himself.
that's so sad.
And he said he had less than $500 in his wallet, and that was all the money in the world that
That's
he had.
so sad.
Because he gave away his royalties.
That's
so
so
sad.
awful.
And there's like, you can go on YouTube and you can find like really old versions of the song, like with the original lyrics on it. It was really sad.
That's really sad. I am not for that band anymore at all.
And that's such a great album,
Yeah.
right? It was
Yeah.
like just
I saw that they when the Eagles opened up the Link, they had a free show, like a pep rally, and the Gym Blossoms played it. So this is like 20 years ago, a million years ago. So one of my best friends to this day, my buddy Brian Geisler, I just met him like 2 weeks prior to that, and I'm like, oh, you're that guy Brian I met at the baseball game, this, that, blah, blah. And we're so drunk. Like, it was just like, you know, we're so drunk. They play Hey Chelsea right out of the gate. And then there was like a half hour later, we just look at each other. We just kind of met each other. We both scream, play Hey Chelsea again. Like, you know.
No other hits, just Hey Jealousy.
yeah. So next time you hear that song, man, think that there's a dark side of that
Douchebag.
album, dude.
Holy
and,
shit,
And there was
man.
like 4 or 5 songs off that album, right? Like Found Out About You.
It was definitely a hit. It was on the charts. It was definitely in top 20 charts.
But I always put them in the category, like, even though the Counting Crows are just like a much better band, timeless band. But I always kind of like associate those two bands together because I guess they came out like right at the same couple of years, you know, had the same kind of following, you know.
Until I Fall Away, Found Out About You, Allison Road, Hey Jealousy.
Allison Road's a good song.
Yeah.
They had a song on the Empire Records soundtrack, Found Out About You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on this album too.
Okay.
And I'm looking at the track listing. So he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 12 songs that
Sure.
guy wrote. And that was also kind of their peak too, right? So it's like that dude wasn't writing songs for him anymore.
Yeah, they
and
didn't
never,
really do much after that. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they were a one album band.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. It's a really sad story.
Hard rock and roll ending.
Yeah, right. That's rock and roll, right? All right, let's keep rolling, man. We're going to talk about this. All right, the next album is REM Automatic for the People.
What was on this album?
One of the greatest songs ever,
Everybody
ever
Hurts?
written.
Everybody
to tell you
Hurts?
the truth. No, man. Man on the Moon.
I fucking hate this song.
Really?
Yeah,
This is
here
a
we
good
go.
song.
I hate the Hey Baby.
I love that.
Oh,
I
dude,
love
Andy
that.
I hate
Kaufman's
it.
the man.
I love that.
I hate it.
Play it.
Here, all right.
See you in heaven if you make yeah. Now, Andy, did you hear about this one? Tell me, are you locked in the pond? Andy, are you goofing on Elvis? Hey, baby, are we losing touch? If you believe.
Dude, we trash REM on this show all the time, but damn, that fucking song is good.
It's a
man.
What do you
Great-
like
it's
about
a-
that? What do you guys like about that
Because
song?
it's about Andy Kaufman. Like we all seen the movie, you know, Man on the Moon and everything like that. And you listen to these lyrics and everything just makes sense that they're talking about.
And he's like talking about childhood. You know, he's like, let's play Twister, let's play Risk. I think it's about your youth, you know, and you know how life can be silly, you know, with Andy Kaufman. You know,
Okay.
I hate REM.
Yeah.
I wish that I don't know if they're in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No.
You know,
This album got 5 stars from Rolling Stone, which is really hard,
Sure,
right? They
yeah.
don't hand those
Yeah.
out very
Yeah.
often.
but it's just like, you know,
everything else on the album sucks, but that sounds.
I don't know. Like I asked the questions like, is Everybody Hurts on this album? You're like, yeah, that also is one of the, unfortunately,
I fucking
is
hate
one of
that
the
song.
greatest songs ever written.
Oh my
Remember
God.
that video when he would hug himself? Everybody hurts.
You heard
Mike,
that-
hug yourself, Mike.
You heard that
Everything's
after
going to be okay.
You heard that after Columbine.
Yeah, I don't
you heard
like-
that after
yeah.
9/11. Every
Yeah.
tragedy, they rolled that
Yeah,
shit
sit
out.
out,
And
yeah.
it's like, maybe that's not
Just
their
leave
fault.
it alone. No, yeah, just that's just the media. Fuck them.
Ugh.
But I have to say, as much as we do not like REM, it's
Man
a
on
great
the-
song, man.
Man
It's
on
a
the Moon.
great song.
REM had a really small window. Like this album, the album before it, and the album after.
Monster,
there was some
Monster was a huge
stuff.
hit.
Oh, I fucking hated Monster. What I'm thinking of.
I'm just saying too.
Yeah, I'm
That was
thinking
a huge-
maybe I'm thinking 2 albums ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Monster was like their comeback album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where
They didn't do anything for years.
Yeah,
and, then they came
and that was
back.
where I soured on them. That
Yeah,
was the worst concert
that
I've ever
album
seen.
Sucks.
Oh, that's right. You did see that.
Yeah.
Poor
All
guy.
right. All right. Let's move on. We don't talk about REM anymore. All right. I got something might be a little bit more obscure for you guys. You guys listen to a band named Sugar?
No.
All right. So Sugar was Bob Mould, who was the lead singer for Husker Du. When Husker Du broke up, we didn't talk about Husker Du in the punk episode, man.
Yeah,
and
remember we talked about
I
this.
like them a lot, man.
Cool.
Real heavy 3-piece, real sloppy, muddy kind of sound. And then he just came out with a pop band. And it was just a real solid 90s alternative. Oh, here's 30 seconds of a song called If I Can Change Your Mind. And just think about Husker Du in the light of this and just how different this is. And I just love this album. It's an album called Copper Blue. Maybe that's why I like it. Yeah, say that would come at me. That's why I like it.
Was that the chorus?
Yeah.
I don't know that song. I never heard that song.
Dude,
before.
I love that. I never heard that
He's
before.
great, man. I've seen him every time he comes to Philly. He still tours. I go and see him.
He
He's great.
wrote that beginning, like I said, it sounds like Springsteen.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know
like,
if he's playing a 12-string there. It's like just
Yeah, it's a
real.
12
but
string.
just like how
real
it drives,
Yeah.
you know? Very cool shit.
Really interesting dude, man. And I don't think that band gets a lot of mention anymore. but
That's why we have this
there
show.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. The last thing I have on the alternative bucket is the single soundtrack.
Oh, I
Wow,
love
very
that.
good.
Was a huge thing to me, man.
Man,
huge.
that is if you need to introduce somebody to grunge, you're like, here you go, man. Here's the intro.
start. Yeah,
That movie. Cameron Crowe wrote the
Script.
the script for the movie. The movie was okay, right? But the soundtrack, like, was better than the movie.
Sure. Yeah. What are you getting on
You
here
know,
from that?
I put State of Love and Trust on there.
Pearl Jam. Yeah, here you go.
Dude, that changed my life.
Yeah.
That song?
State of Love and Trust changed my life.
Like you said, and when we were talking about Pearl Jam in an earlier episode, you went out and bought 10 and you thought this song was going to be on there, and you were like, what the fuck? The song's not on there.
Yeah,
And then-
because they played it on the Unplugged.
Yeah.
And I was like, where's this fucking song at?
Yeah.
And it was on the single soundtrack along with Wood.
Yeah.
Soundgarden, Mother Love Bone.
Jimi Hendrix was on. That was one of the first Jimi Hendrix songs I ever heard. You know,
But that Pearl Jam song still gets me going, man.
That should be like, man, we got up, we played the little clip of us getting off the time machine. That should be like, welcome back to the 90s, sir. Here's your copy of the single soundtrack on cassette tape
Now
and
continue.
your flannel shirt. Continue on.
You want to hear something funny about? I heard about Singles, the movie, the script. NBC gave Cameron Crowe like a bunch of money to make this sitcom. He's like, no, I'm going to make this movie about single people living together kind of thing. You know what? The show that they made,
Friends?
Friends.
You just said that and I was thinking in my mind.
Yeah, Friends stole the idea from the movie Singles.
Yeah.
I think the movie's like largely forgettable, but the soundtrack, dude, was
no.
rocking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Matt Dillon's really,
He's
like,
aw-
he's great. Dude,
Yeah.
Eddie Vedder's in it. And
Chris
Chris
Cornell.
Cornell's in it.
Yeah.
You know,
Jeff Hammett's in it.
yeah, Kim, the guitar player for Soundgarden, Kim, whatever his name is.
Style.
Yeah,
Style,
he's in it.
whatever.
Alice in Chains is in it.
They're in
Yeah.
it.
Definitely a time machine for 1992.
Absolutely, man.
That's like, we're huge in Belgium, like I say all the time about this show.
Yeah.
We're huge in Belgium.
All right. I think that's it for the alternative stuff. And then we're going to move into the heavy stuff. And the heavy stuff is just as the line between grunge and alternative was messy. some of this shit is like, is it industrial music? Is it heavy music?
Let's find out.
No fucking idea. The first album I had, which is also one of my, Faith No More was one of my favorite albums. This is also one of them, and that's Psalm 69 by Ministry.
Yes.
I fucking
Me
love
too,
this album.
dude. Blast that
So
shit.
here we go. This is NWA. This is
NWO.
NWO.
Yeah.
Stick 'em up.
Here we go.
Here's NWO.
I love that. You'll never see me because I'm always alone.
I have to say, as a 45-year-old man, I have to say I'm sorry to my parents because I'm like,
You just play that?
I used to blast that shit in my room so much. This is just pissed off your parents.
Dude, Ministry was a great band. They had that other song, Jesus Built My Hot Rod.
Yeah, they had a window of, man, like 3 albums in a row that were just really great, and then it just kind of spun out.
They're still around. He's
Are
still
they really?
alive. That
Yeah.
dude is like been through like drug city. Like he's like done every drug. He survived many overdoses, but he's still out there touring.
This album, they got a huge advance to make this album,
Really?
and they said they blew it all. They said they were spending $1,000 a day on like drugs.
Good for them. But it's like that, this is the 90s show. That's the song that reminds me of my childhood. Just driving around with my buddy in his station wagon, just in his parents' car, just flying around, going to pool halls, going to diners, going to pool halls, going to Deffert Mall or Echelon Mall, whatever. But I'm really happy to hear it. I haven't heard that in a long time.
That's on my, like, when I do work out every, 10 years, that's on my
Yeah,
I was going to say, like, that's kind of like a meathead song. I'm sure like a lot of meatheads have that, like, song playing in their headset when they're working out.
All right,
I hope not. The song's way too cool for meatheads.
All right, we're gonna play 3 songs out of them. So, do you guys, you know the song "Jesus Built My Hot Rod"?
Yeah, it's a
right?
great song.
All right, here's a little bit of it. I just want to kind of show something here. That's
a great song.
That's Gibby Haynes from the Butthole Surfers.
Yeah, he's the best.
So here's a song called "Some Dispute Over T-Shirt Sales" off of the Butthole Surfers album, Independent Worm Saloon, which is an absolutely fucking fantastic album.
Nice.
Awesome,
I
right?
love it.
Yeah.
This
love
song
it.
called "Some Dispute Over T-Shirt Sales."
That's great. I
a
love that
great title,
That's an
man.
amazing title.
Bands break up over T-shirt money.
Right. Yeah, and that album with the Butthole Surfers, that came out in '93. Dude, that was, love that album. We can do that next year.
Yeah.
We do the back
93.
But
Yeah.
that Ministry song, "Jesus Drives a Hot Rod," I like that better than the other song. I've
hear
always
you.
had.
Yeah,
I've
no,
always
yeah,
had.
yeah.
It has
I do
humor
too.
to it,
Yeah.
you know?
They were another thing, man. I just remember watching MTV really, really late at night. I don't remember if it was
Yeah.
Headbangers Ball
Yeah.
or it was Beavis and Butthead.
It definitely Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
Like Just One Fix. Like, yeah, but their songs are all about drugs.
Yeah,
and they
all
had
the
all
good
these
stuff.
weird samples and
Yeah.
heavy as shit.
They're more industrial to me.
I would say that too.
I think so too.
Yeah.
They were like
like 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're Nine Inch Nails and White Zombie, like crushed together, but like heavier.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Let's talk about Nine Inch Nails. So Nine Inch Nails came out with they had an EP that came out this year. So they were coming right out of, it was after Pretty Hate Machine.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty Hate Machine was kind of like, Ministry was like this too. Ministry was like a synth pop band. When you listen to old Ministry, it's like dance music almost.
Yeah.
And Pretty Hate Machine was cool, but it didn't have that edge.
It had a dance beat to it kind of thing.
Yeah. And then you came out, and then Nine Inch Nails dropped this.
This is the first day of my last day. Build it out, now take it apart. Climbed up real high, now fall and then fall. No need for me to stay like saying, I just threw it away.
Yeah, man. So this is like, you came out of like, had like a whole, it was like little synth, like, I don't know, man, like heavy Depeche Mode. I don't know what the hell to describe it.
Yeah,
they
that's
were
good. Very well said.
Definitely
Yeah.
different. I
And
remember
then-
the video. The video was really
Yeah,
industrial.
yeah.
And
He
it
was
just
like
like in a cage.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was just like Mad Max.
And again-
kind of thing. And like what a sound that was. It
But
was new. It was
it
something
ch-
different.
It changed everything.
Right.
It absolutely had a big, huge part of changing everything.
Right.
Everybody was like, what is this?
Yes.
Right, 'cause
Even though
this
it's like
leads-
industrial, like you had your Ministry and this and that, but this was like commercially successful.
Right.
You know?
And this is the precursor to the Downward Spiral.
Yeah,
and
which
then,
is a
and he's
monster.
in the Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like just,
Yeah.
I
He's
was
a
like,
genius. He's a genius.
I think they were the first band t-shirt I owned.
Really?
Like,
Really?
I had a Pretty Hate Machine t-shirt, like, and that album came out like 89, 90.
It was just so like kind of cool if you were into Nine Inch Nails back then. Like if you got it. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
right. I was
Like I'll be honest, I didn't get it in the beginning.
I mean,
Like, I
some have-
absolutely not.
I had it on CD, and I was telling you guys during I have it coming on vinyl,
That's amazing.
and it's gonna sound badass. I can't wait to get it.
They had some weird, like, there was a remix version, like the cover was blue
Yeah.
instead of red.
It was called Fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a whole bunch of, like, back like when remixes were like,
Yeah,
they were
thing.
churning
Yeah.
out all kinds
Yeah.
of
he
shit.
always did that though. He always had
Trent
different
was a
like
big
yeah.
thing. They're all on Spotify.
Yeah. But he's a big like producer and like big sound guy. He's always tinkering with things.
Yeah, I was a big fan. All right, man, keep rolling on. Another kind of industrial band, man, was La Sexoristo
Who?
by White Zombie.
Oh, wait,
yeah.
right on.
The album. So they had this is the album that Black Sunshine was on. Thunderkiss 65. Dude, this band is popular because of Beavis and Butthead.
Definitely.
Right?
In the
Beavis
beginning,
and Butthead. Right? They got started.
They loved it too. They were like,
Yeah.
"This is the greatest thing ever."
I loved it, man. This was
They made a stamp. They made a footprint.
Yeah,
when
they
came out.
were such a huge band when they came out, and Rob Zombie was an original character.
absolutely, man.
I mean, he was something. I don't know what is he? He was something out of a horror movie.
Can
you
we
know?
hang on. You had Thunderkiss 65 on there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
play something else.
I was gonna play Black Sunshine because the spoken word at the beginning.
Okay.
It's here.
Gripping the wheel, his knuckles run white with desire. The wheels in his Mustang exploding on the highway like a slug from a 45. True death. 400 horsepower of maximum performance, piercing the night. This is Black Sunshine.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, that spoken word at the beginning, that's Iggy Pop.
that's
Oh,
amazing.
rad.
That's
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, and I love this, man. As we pulled this up, like the first song on this album is called "Welcome to Planet Motherfucker." Like they're awesome, dude. We talked about them a lot in our
Yeah.
Shock Rock episode, but
But just hearing that, the Iggy Pop part, the introduction there, that reminds me of like a B movie.
Yeah,
oh, dude, absolutely, man. It was
like-
rockabilly,
yeah.
right? B horror, everything
Yeah.
they did was always
Yeah.
it's like early in their career, like how they got Iggy Pop is just like I think a lot of people, a lot of artists understood what Rob Zombie's vision was, like what he was trying to do musically. Like you hear it like when
I
the
think-
cars
yeah.
drive by and everything. Like everybody was like, "Man, this guy's like something special."
Yeah. It's,
And this band, I still love the majority of music they put out. Like
Man.
I'm a
Yeah, Rob
huge fan.
Zombie.
I always seen them one time there. They opened up for Ozzy, and I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Did you see? You saw the whole band and not him by himself?
No,
Oh, no,
we
it was
went
just
and
that-
saw Rob Zombie.
Yeah, it was just Rob,
Rob
Zombie.
Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said to Ryan not too long ago, I was like, why wouldn't he do White Zombie again? He was like, why would he?
We
Why
talked
would
about
he?
that in the
He
Shock
keeps
Rock
all
episode.
the dough for himself.
Yeah, but dude, I love him. I love
Yeah.
everything he does. I think
I
everything
like
he
his
touches turns to
movies.
gold.
His
you know?
movies are great. His albums
He's
are
like,
great.
he's a pop icon. He's making a Monsters movie.
He
Nobody
was
has no
gonna-
any idea what this is going to be like.
He was going to make that Broad Street Bullies movie
Yeah,
about the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
And they
With
were-
Bob Clark and shit.
Yeah, by
That would
Bernie
have been-
Perrant.
That would have been decadent.
And
they-
the monster. The
they
monster.
were going to try to if that was going to get greenlit, they were going to film some of that in the bar.
Really?
Broad Street. Yep, absolutely. I had it all worked out with somebody.
Wow.
Yep.
A little inside. There's
Yeah.
some inside baseball for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Even like the monster thing, like
Nobody knows.
it's getting shit on all the time because he puts his wife in everything, and I was
Yeah.
like, I don't
She's
care, man.
hot.
I'm gonna watch it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Tim Burton puts his wife in every
Yeah.
movie he makes.
So is
you
Kevin
know?
Smith, but he's a slob. Yeah.
But
No, what White Zombie, like this
That was
is
a great album.
a great album. It's a band that I caught on to later on in my life. Yeah, I mean, again, it was like a little too dangerous for me in 1992. It was like, I was within the grunge.
And their second album was fucking great
Dude.
too.
oh my god, it's so good,
oh my god, I played that Astro Cube 2000.
Oh,
dude. What a great album.
One of my favorite. I can't wait in 2 years when
We
we do
talked
the
about that.
94 episode.
years.
I can't wait, dude.
We'll still
That's-
be around.
Yeah, man. We can talk about this one forever.
But I still think he should get back together with White Zombie and do a tour. I think they would just crush it.
cool.
I'd go see it. I'd line up. Next, I got Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Now, this is a band that changed everything.
They changed
Everything.
the game, man. There's everything about music. Here's 30 seconds of Wake Up.
I'm glad you played this one.
Dude, I remember the first
Yep,
time I
same.
heard that. I was in gym class and I heard that and I was like, holy shit, what is this? What is
Man.
that guitar sound?
There was a couple times, like other episodes we've done. It's like if they're all pieces on the board, somebody's puts their arm on it, just swipes all the shit off the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That is them, dude.
They
were the
They
best.
are the
No-
most one of the most important bands to happen, not of all time, but like at least in a few decades.
Nothing sounded like this,
nothing.
right?
And it's still fresh. It's still like the whole album. Like it was just
That
so
whole
important.
album
It started
is
making
so
it
fucking great.
It started making you think different. Like
Right, it was
at that
political
age,
as shit,
and you're
right.
still trying to figure out politically where you stood back then, and you're just kind of like figuring things out. And it was a huge deal.
Dude, that's an awesome point, man. Because that's also like when shit comes out, you got to think about like, okay, if this came out now, I'm mature in my
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
right?
No,
If you're
absolutely.
a kid, like if
Yeah,
you're a kid
no.
in the '60s when like
Yes.
Buffalo Springs, when the birds come out,
Yeah.
it makes you think a certain way,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Because it's like it's more
Yeah.
impactful,
Yeah, yes.
right? For us,
Yeah.
this was the shit that made you go like, "Whoa, what is going on?"
Because
here?
they're introducing their merchandise. Like there's stuff they were doing things that they were so controversial.
Yeah.
There was a time when they were backing up different political things and everything like that. In South Philadelphia, you could not wear a Rage Against the Machine shirt.
you couldn't play it in the
You
bar.
couldn't play it in the bar. You couldn't do any of that shit.
because of the
So-
political stance,
yeah,
on the
because
shit.
all their political shit, and especially in South Philadelphia, it was a huge thing. I'm not getting into any of that.
yeah, we
stuff.
talked about
No.
that before.
But this album, the sounds that Tom Morello makes with his guitar was revolutionary. You know, the bass playing, it was so, like, we were just listening to that deep bass right there. And and Zach, he's one of the greatest frontmen ever.
I mean, they're like they play that song at the end of the Matrix,
Yes.
right? And it's like so that has a futuristic. It goes with the theme of the movie. That
It's like wake up.
futuristic, funky,
Yeah.
right?
At the end, he's like, wake up.
And you said before, Doug, in another episode that like you don't think they've evolved beyond that very much.
That and Evil Empire. There are I'll always go back to those albums, but I don't think he really evolved too much from what he does. Yeah, that's what he's known
I just
for.
think that's what he does.
Yeah.
That's what he does. It's
But
not his
I
fault.
never really you guys brought up that he played for Bruce Springsteen.
Tom Morello.
Morello,
Yeah, I never
yeah.
heard anything that he did. Like I heard like Tom, like goes to Tom
I
Jones,
watched
like
it.
you know what I mean. But I'm gonna have to go watch it and
I
hear
watched
what his
it.
interpretation of what Little Steven did. It's amazing. But dude, honestly, this is one of the most important bands in my life.
Yeah, he
I
changed.
could- I'll
He
say-
changed how guitar was playing. No, it's he's great. He goes up there. I watched video with Bruce, and one of my favorite Springsteen songs is "Lost in the Flood."
He fucking brings
And
it.
Tom Morello at the end of it, just usually Niles plays guitar
Yeah.
solo in it, but Tom Morello plays guitar solo in it, and he fucking nails it.
I saw something earlier this week. It was a Rage Against the Machine concert from like 1992, and they're playing like they are kids, they're babies. And you see I don't know why I didn't send it to you guys, but it was like kind of watching this thing. I was like, look how fucking young these guys are,
Yeah.
and look at him, like look at Zach.
He had, like,
he's-
short hair
He had
and
short
shit.
hair.
I saw it.
and he's just like fucking into it, and like it's bad, dude. It's bad.
They were an original
Yes.
idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
They just canceled their tour for 2022.
Yeah.
I just saw it today when I was driving over here.
For $150 a ticket.
Yeah, because they were supposed to play before the pandemic, and
Yeah.
they were supposed to play some festival, but they were going to play Camden, but the Camden tickets didn't go on sale because they had to sell out the other thing.
Yes.
And I don't think neither show's ever happened. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But I was definitely going to
Yeah.
go see that.
All right, dude, let's keep. You want to talk about some controversial shit? Let's go and talk about maybe the most controversial album that came out in the heavy metal category for the year, Body Count.
Oh, the best.
They're great.
This album was so fucking good, dude.
And
Ice-T.
we were on board the second this came out.
We saw them on this tour and everything.
Yeah.
Well, Ice-T grew up and he liked Sabbath and Zeppelin, and he decided he was going to start a band, a heavy metal band. They went out on the road before the album came out. They went on Lollapalooza in '91, and they come out with an album, and it's a great, dude. It's an awesome album.
It's a fucking
Dude,
awesome
it's an
album.
amazing album.
God damn, it stirs up
It's-
a shit storm.
And he made it he made it that way.
Yeah.
And
He wanted to show what
he
it was
stepped
about.
into the fucking abyss.
Yeah.
And
I loved that album when
Yeah,
it came
so
out.
great.
Like I had like original copy of it with Cop Killer on it. You know, like fuck that song. Who cares about that song? But like, what did I put on there? There goes
there
the
goes the
neighborhood.
buddy.
Yeah.
Let's all right. Let's get Cop Killer out of the way. So the album is great.
Yeah.
And it came out with a song, a song at the end of it called Cop Killer.
Yes.
And it got so much shit that the president came out and
he
was
did.
calling it obscene.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, Doug, like we're gonna
Gotta go see
them.
him. We saw him at the truck. We had to-
Right.
Yeah.
and it was like like Charlton Heston was still
Yeah.
a president of the
He threw his-
NRA.
yeah,
he was
threw his
trashing
hat
it.
in the ring. Yeah.
And the guys at the executives for Time Warner Records were getting like death threats.
Sure.
And all these
It was a big
police
deal.
unions. And then Ice-T came out and he was like, I have a quote from him. I'm singing in the first person as a character who's fed up with police brutality. If you believe I'm a cop killer, then you believe that David Bowie is really an astronaut.
That's great.
You know, he was just like, what the fuck, man? It was like,
Yeah.
and
Now
dude-
he plays the cop on TV.
Yeah.
right,
For
right.
20
He was on-
years at
right.
least.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
he got so much shit. It was like, God, can you imagine if that came out
Yeah.
now? Like cancel
No,
culture,
you know
what
what?
it is.
Well,
He's so intelligent. When they came at him, he came back at them.
I said he stood in the abyss with his fingers up and
Yeah.
was like, dude, I grew up in a neighborhood where bad shit happens to people based on the police, and I'm singing about I made up a character and they're singing a song.
But Ice-T unfortunately became a household name because of this album.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
of this
dude.
band.
And
Became a household
when
name.
we
It's
get
so
around to
yeah.
do the episode on C. Dolores Tucker and all the obscenity of music, this was a
This is
big
right.
deal, man.
Yeah,
I remember
like,
like
this is like-
teachers talking about this
he
to me
was
in school.
like, he was like, I'm gonna like the PMRC. I'm gonna give them a run for their money, dude. He did everything he possibly could to get this album like the worst band they could get.
This is like if that. I'm sorry, Doug.
No,
I
I was
going
going to say, like, I'm sure he was like, he was like, good. Keep on talking about me. Keep on talking. about
selling
me.
albums.
selling out shows. People are going.
Right.
Like, dude, this is a big fucking
it's like if
deal.
like Wet Ass Pussy came out before the internet.
Exactly.
Like that kind of
Yes.
like, all right.
Yeah.
But that, all right, that song, so the song got dropped off the album, right? Subsequent pressings and all
Right.
kinds of other shit. The rest of the album, dude, was awesome.
It
That's great.
is fucking great.
Here's, there goes the neighborhood. I'm so glad
Hang
you
on
put
for,
this on here.
yeah, but
go
hang
ahead.
on for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, Ice-T says a lot of things. He says the N-word a lot in this thing, so I'm just like, giving a heads up. This is Ice-T singing this. You know, it's not us doing it.
Right, we didn't write it.
We didn't write it.
Here come them fucking niggas with the fancy cars. Who gave them fucking
Unreal, dude.
What he's making a statement though.
He didn't say anything wrong.
No,
but
no,
he's saying
He's using the N word, which
Yeah.
is like not in rock and
But,
roll.
yeah,
But he's like,
but that's what everybody was like. I understand what he's saying.
Yeah, but DMX goes out there and plays Woodstock 99,
Yeah,
and
that's
all
a
the
mess.
white kids are singing
Yeah,
the
that's-
right,
N-word.
it's 15
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
He's taken that's part of that.
Yeah.
I'm going to tread lightly. That's part of the vernacular of that music, of like hip hop music. He's bringing it to rock and roll and just going, who gave these niggas guitars? Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like,
That's what he's saying.
yeah, which people
Yeah.
are probably saying. Like,
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
absolutely
who are
they
these
were.
guys? Absolutely.
Dude, they came out with another album, like their 30-year anniversary, or they came out with maybe last year. They came out with the album, and it's fucking god awful.
yeah. I'm
Well,
sure.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the original idea.
Yeah.
Dude, they were on Lollapalooza. Like,
Yeah,
the
they were.
original
Yeah.
Lollapalooza. You know, can you be Ice-T back in the day. Could you imagine?
No.
Like,
But I give him all the credit in the world. He had all the
He's
balls
a
in the
talent.
world
He's a
to
talented.
try something out of his,
Right.
his
You had,
ordinary
like,
thing.
he's a talented
You
guy.
had Living Color,
Yeah.
right? The band, not the show.
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah,
TV
yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
them,
And
right?
them.
And they were like, they're taking whatever the line is, they're going and they're straddling over it with their dick hanging out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, yeah, man, it was like,
It's
just how-
real. It's like, this is the real news.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And they're taking like the context of like hip hop lyrics about like in the neighborhoods that I can't even begin to understand.
Yeah.
And putting guitars behind it. Everyone, and white people went batshit.
Yeah.
It was really funny. Like we mentioned, Ryan and I saw them. So we were living in Jersey. So we get a ride over here. We go see my dad. My dad's like, we're sitting in the apartment upstairs. He's like, we're telling him we're just going to a concert. And he comes in. He's like, he comes upstairs. Who are you going to go see tonight? I'm like, oh, we're going to go see like Bon Jovi. At the, he didn't know at the Spectrum. Oh, I thought you were going to go see that Ice-T guy. So we wind up going to the show. And there's all cops out front protesting and like
The TV cameras
There's
are out
there.
there.
And
We're
we
like
have, like, the hoodies
dodging.
on. Yeah,
we're
we're
like
like-
dodging the TV cameras.
and dude, I think Biohazard opened up that show for them.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, Mama Volume and Biohazard opened up.
No. You got that wrong. It
Really?
was propane.
Oh, Propane.
Propane
Okay.
and biohazard.
forgot.
What a
about
great
Biohazard.
show that was. And that Biohazard, that's a great album.
All right. I got one more album in the heavy metal column. And that is Pantera. Dude, that another, like you said, like Rage Against the Machine, dude, like changing everything.
This is one of the most important metal albums of all the time. Me and Ryan were coming back from Cleveland. We went to go see Metallica, and we just listened to metal the whole way back, and then we listened to old Vulgar Display, and we just had the conversation of how this changed heavy metal.
I remember seeing them and like
Yeah.
right on this tour, and they just made Nirvana made everybody look stupid.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, Pantera made everybody in heavy metal look stupid.
It's the first time we ever seen like a mosh pit, or even we were in the mosh pit. We didn't even know what the fuck was going on. Like it was like
Unreal.
we were like second row, and like they were opening up for like Skid Row for Slave of the Grind, and we had no idea what was going on. Like,
But
we
it
were
was
these
such
two
an
kids.
eye opener. Doug
Yeah.
ran out and bought the tape the next
The
day.
next day, and I ran to a friend of ours, our friend Donnie's house, Donnie Moses, and I walked around the corner. I'm like, I saw this band last night. I went down to Tower Records, bought the album. You have to listen to this. And now Donnie's like one of
It's
the biggest
huge.
Dimebag fans.
so your
ever.
experience was like you saw them and you're like, I need this.
I ran
not
out the next
compared
day.
to like
I went out the next
I
day.
heard
I
it.
was just
Yeah.
blown away.
I need this in my life.
Yeah.
This is new.
Yep.
You know,
It changed my world.
yeah.
I've
it
been
was,
on board
it
ever
was
since.
Unreal.
And it's
Unreal
not like-
experience.
And if you go listen to the album before that, Cowboys from Hell, that's like a glam album.
Well, you
almost,
see,
right?
yeah, but you
Yeah.
listen to other stuff. Like you see pictures of them because they've been around a long time.
Right.
That band,
Yeah.
Right.
They had a singer before Phil, and they were like a real like, hair band kind of thing.
But
Right, and
you
they
see
just, like,
pictures
just
of Phil with the
completely
hairband
changed.
stuff.
no,
But the
Phil,
reason,
he had the skateboard hair.
yeah, the reason why they made Vulgar Display of Power is because Pantera was so fucking upset about the Metallica Black album, and they went out because Metallica they held them so
Yeah.
highly, and they went out and they're like, we're going to make the heaviest album ever because Metallica dropped the ball. So
Right.
now we're going to try to take that crown away,
And they did.
and they did. It changed everything.
They were like the little brothers that took over.
Yep.
And we didn't. Shame on us, man. That Dimebag wasn't on our Guitar Gods
Yeah.
episode.
He
But,
almost made mine.
I always read that Phil said he wanted to sound like Henry Rollins too, which I get it. I was like, in hindsight,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, but
I think he's a better singer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Henry Rollins is a terrible singer.
Yeah.
Henry
Yeah, but Phil's
Rollins
a
is
horrible singer too. Like with
Yeah.
like this love, like when he sings, like it's like,
No, well-
just do what you do. Don't
Yeah.
sing. Like
No,
he
he
can
could do
sing.
it. He could
yeah,
do
he can
it.
sing those high notes and everything like that. But I prefer more of the
Cemetery Gates, dude.
Yeah.
he rebrings it for it.
Yeah.
dude.
You know what I thought was really cool? I was reading an article and I found an article in Loudwire about this, and they said the first time they recorded this album, and they all get together and they play the master tape, and Dimebag started crying when he heard it, and just said, "It's fucking perfect."
Yes.
And I was like, dude, and that heavy sound, and you're making the guy cry over it is just. That's just such a rock and roll moment.
There's
I
like
love it.
the other songs on the album are fucking great. Fucking Hostile.
All of them.
Can we play a song?
Yeah, we played Walk. Let's play something else. I really
Play
get it.
fucking Hostile.
Yeah, right on.
1, 2, 3, 4. Almost every day, I see the same face. I'm fucking picture too. It's the attitude. If you can see yourself, you put you on a shelf. Your purple masturbate. Bottles to numb the ache. Today I play the part of not parent. Not make 100 rules for you to know about yourself. The lie make you believe what's evil. It's making love and making friends and meaning got the wrong way. The right way to see, to bleed, cannot be done. It's true, you're making us fucking hostile.
I love the ending of that song. Like, he gives everything he gives, like, fucking hostile, and like everything rumbles and there's feedback. It's like it's there.
Like feedback. His voice is so
Yeah.
aggressive
It's
and
amazing.
loud.
This
The
whole album's
microphone
yeah.
can't handle it.
This whole album's a masterpiece.
But there's like, it's like music, like there's like a groove to it too. Right?
Yeah,
It's
no,
not just-
they were definitely like they call it with like a weed metal.
Yeah.
Like stoner
Yeah.
metal.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
what it
just
is,
like
stoner
over.
metal.
It's not just over the top aggression, like in your. It's not Cannibal Corpse or
No,
some other shit like
it's
that.
grooving.
But I'll tell you what, dude, the Abbott brothers, dude, they definitely paid their dues.
Yeah, man.
To get to that
Yeah.
point.
It
Those
was
guys
a-
worked hard.
What a tragedy for both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, Dimebag tragically died, and his brother died of a broken heart.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it's really really sad.
I think Doug will have to go visit their grave one day.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess they're in Texas, I guess.
Yeah, we'll have to go out to Texas.
Let's go.
I think they're out in Vegas, actually.
Really?
No, you're probably right. They're probably in
in
Texas.
Yeah. But also, you hear so much things about Dimebag, and the thing that I hear more about Dimebag of how much of a kind person that he was. He loved everybody. He walked around with this one drink called the Black Tooth Grin, and it was
Yeah.
like, what was it, Jaeger and like Coca-Cola or
No,
something?
it was Crown.
I was Crown.
and Coke.
Crown and Coke.
They would do shots of Crown
Yeah.
and Coke.
And dude, everybody's just and dude, when he died, Eddie Van Halen put the original Frankenstein or whatever
The
in,
yellow and black.
in
the-
his coffin.
the
Because he's like, he even knew it because he said,
He said
it's a
he-
one of a kind for a one of a kind.
original for original.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
I
man.
miss Dimebag.
Yeah. But everybody just says how nice of a man he was.
It's so easy to dismiss people in bands like that. Like you hear those stories about like Lemmy from Motorhead too. Like Dave Grohl gave his eulogy and
Yeah.
said like he put the cigarette out in the
And
the
it's for his
Jack
kid when he
Daniels.
walks in.
Right,
Yeah.
the kid's there and he's like, "Sorry about your friend."
Yeah.
Shit like that. Like it's just, yeah, I love stories like that, man. Like
Yeah.
you think that somebody is just a dirtbag because he's
Yeah.
in heavy metal band the way he looks, and he turns out to being like a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's just, I just love stories like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep rolling, man. So I think we've set up the stage for, we played all the heavy metal music, the alternative, the grunge. There was also like other rock and roll going on, or like classic rock and roll, or generic rock and roll, or whatever you want to call it, man. There's like the stuff, other rock and roll albums that were going on out of this year, which is another reason why like this year was just so awesome because there's so many just different types of music. And the first one that I had on the list, man, and this album was huge, was Adrenalized by Def Leppard.
Great album.
Right? They don't fit in. And this was like the last great Def Leppard
Yeah.
album.
I saw
Another
them
band-
on this tour.
Did you really?
I saw them on
I
this
remember
tour.
when you saw them.
Yeah.
I didn't,
wow.
I didn't see it. I didn't go.
Yeah, it was great.
Let's play 30 seconds of Let's Get Rocked.
Let's get. What I love about that album is the album before that was Hysteria, and between these albums, Steve Clark died.
Yeah.
Yes.
And our other guitar player, Phil Collins, played his parts like he would.
Oh, shit. I remember that. Yeah.
Like,
Steve Clark wrote 6 of the songs on this album,
Yeah.
too.
And like Phil played the way that Steve would play.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
Like he channeled them,
Yeah.
and like nobody else was there. He did it all by himself. Nobody else in the band was there.
He
And
just
it was just
channeled
him.
them.
It was just him and the engineer.
And they were like, what would he do? What would,
Yeah.
what would his sound be like?
That is amazing.
And we talked about like the adversity that they've overcome.
Yeah,
And,
they're
you know,
they're
like,
one of the greatest bands ever. Dude.
right. Like, and they're like, think about all the other shit that we've been playing, man. Like
Yeah.
Body Count and
Yeah.
Ministry and Nine Inch Nails. Like all music is changing around them, and they're like, again, they're standing in the
They were
they're
one of the
standing in
last
the abyss
ones.
to go like, we're still doing our thing.
I'm going to tell you one thing. When Motley Crue comes down, Def Leppard's going to blow them off
Fucking
the
right they
fucking
will.
stage.
They are that
at
good
that
live.
concert, yeah.
Dude,
Def Leppard's going to blow them
Yeah,
off the
Def
fucking
Leppard-
they are
stage.
that good live. I don't know
Yeah.
if, did you ever see them?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how good they were. I was shocked. I was blown away of how good they were live. And this wasn't that long. It was maybe 5 years ago. I couldn't
No,
believe
it was like fucking 3 years ago.
Was it really?
Seeing them live, I was backstage. The drummer handed me a beer and said, "Can you open this?"
I remember.
I left me arm and
both of you guys were there, weren't you?
no.
I met them on a different occasion.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were really nice guys.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
all, Joe Elliott was a really nice dude.
Yeah, he was like, "Can you open me beer? I left my other arm in the, or can you open my beer? I left me arm in the tour bus." Like just,
I told him how much his drumming meant to me. Like,
Did
I
you?
was, oh my God. I was like, dude, I'm like, now I come back and look at it, like how like a hip hop beat was such a pour some sugar on me.
Yeah.
And like, I made like a whole career behind that beat, you know?
they're another band, dude, like AC/DC. They've been writing the same song for 30 years.
I don't
but
think
it's
so.
a great song.
I don't think so. They're
Really?
diverse. If you listen to another, like a couple other songs, like Woman, I think is on that album.
No, that's on Stereo.
Is it a stereo?
I think they're one of the most formulaic
Really? You think
rock
so?
bands.
That
Yeah.
album is.
But I'm also not a musician, so
Adrenaline's a little bit like it has a formula kind of thing. I love the album.
I do
love
too.
it.
This is a great
Yeah,
album.
Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I'm like, fuck
There's
it.
a
It's a
few
great
like
song.
ballads on there
yeah,
that
Two
are
Steps
pretty.
Behind is on this one, isn't it?
No,
That's another
that was on the last Action Hero.
I'm like
soundtrack.
striking it out left and right.
I'm sorry.
No. I'm striking out left and right. But dude, what a great band.
Yeah, right on.
But no, you're right though. They're gonna fucking blow Motley Crue out this stage. Motley Crue doesn't have like they
they don't have a chance.
they don't they're
Yeah.
they're
They
gonna
better
fucking drop
They
out.
better blow everything the fuck
Yeah.
up.
All right, so you got, yeah, Def Leppard was going on. You also had Bon Jovi was going
Awesome
on. Man.
album.
This is a great album.
Keep the faith.
This is a
baby.
huge
This is-
album to me.
This is a good song, man. Here you go.
Tell your children that their time has just begun. I have suffered for my anger. There are wars that can't be won. Father, please believe me. I am laying down my guns. I'm broken like an arrow. Forgive me. Forgive me when everybody needs somebody.
Man, I remember this came out. I was like, what happened to the I'll Be There For You, Bon Jovi? This is like the I'm pissed off Bon Jovi.
Is this the Bed of Roses? Is that
Yeah.
on here?
That album,
Yeah.
that song sucks.
Yeah,
I
put
said that to the Electric Chair.
You
They're
did,
like one of
yeah.
my favorite bands of all time.
But like with the song particularly, this is the song that was out when I first picked up bass, and this is one of the first songs I learned how to play out of the gate. Is
So that's
Keep
like
the
a special moment.
This whole
for you?
album, like we've talked about this before.
This
like,
whole album
this whole
was
like
a
Dry
big deal.
County on this album. It's like
yeah.
it's
Yeah, you
an
have-
amazing
I
song.
Sleep When I'm Dead's
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
album.
There's a couple of like corny ones, like "Woman in Love." It's a little corny,
Yeah.
you know.
But there's about
There's a-
5 songs that
believe-
keep it
Yeah.
going.
Like
There's
the-
enough songs to keep it going.
There's a great song that opens up this album called "I Believe." With every breath I breathe, you and me will turn a whisper into a scream. I think it's it's great. It's a
It
great,
makes
great
some-
fucking song.
Yeah, they had some great lyrics on that album. But they really tried and they succeeded to overcome that hairband thing. Like they were like, all right, it made national news that John Bon Jovi cut his hair. I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they come out why Nirvana's playing and Pearl Jam's playing. But then here comes Bon Jovi with a top 5 album in the
Right.
country.
And they didn't have an album out for a long
Years,
time.
for
Couple
years.
years.
And I remember they said they had a thing before Unplugged and everything. They called it like an evening with Bon Jovi, and they did it. They kind of did it like, was it the '68 comeback special, whatever it was
Of Elvis.
Of Elvis, they sat in a circle like around
Sat in
the
a
round,
ring.
and I still watch this concert.
Yeah,
like,
dude, it was
That's
really
the concert that the guys who started MTV Unplugged said
Yeah,
that gave me
yeah.
the idea. I remember that.
because they open up the show with a little help from my friends, and it's like the Joe Cocker version, and it's absolutely amazing.
Very cool.
Yeah. What we got? Springsteen?
We got 2 more albums we're going to talk about, man. So the first one is, let's talk about Springsteen. So we got, in 1992, we got 2 albums from Springsteen, Human Touch and Lucky Town.
You said before you don't like these albums.
I don't.
Did they come
man.
out at the same time?
Yeah, same day.
The same day. 57 channels, nothing on.
Yeah,
It's one.
90s Springsteen, man,
Yeah, it's hard.
is not good.
Yeah.
And I'm as a diehard as Springsteen fan. And Springsteen himself talks.
Yeah.
He's like, I stopped singing about girls and cars, and, and it's
He
just
was living in L.A.
he lived in L.A., got rid of
Yeah.
the band. It's
Yeah.
like you could probably make one good album out of the 2 of these. There's a couple good songs on here.
He plays like here and there, a few different of these songs.
Yeah, there's
you know?
some songs on here that I like. That he's bitter, a little angry, like he got divorced. And, but I still like.
I don't know much about these albums.
This is when he did that Plugged album, that MTV Plugged. They released these 2 albums. That was the promotion they did on MTV.
Yeah.
MTV Plugged.
Oh, okay. That was like I remember when we were doing the Unplugged. I listened to that, and I
Yeah.
this is fucking.
That's
great.
awesome, right?
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of Human Touch.
You and me, we were the pretenders. We let it all slip away. In the end, what you don't surrender, well, the world just strips away. Girl, ain't no kindness in the face of strangers. We ain't gonna find no miracles here. Well, you can wait on your blessings, my darling. I got a deal for you right here. I ain't looking for praise or pity. I ain't coming around searching for a crush. I just want.
It
Yeah, dude,
definitely
it's-
was a sun shining.
Yeah,
I'm living in L.A. and
That was a big song, though. People.
It was.
It was a semi-hit. You
It's
know.
bolo tie Springsteen.
we
It's
didn't
just
get we didn't
Bolo
get
ties.
we didn't get far into the song, but the drum beat to that. So when it gets into
Yeah.
it's fat.
he still plays that song once in a while.
Yeah, it's a
the,
great song.
The
Yeah,
'90s,
people-
the '90s are a lost decade for him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
he got
though.
away from all
But
this shit.
you know, you got to think they did do the reunion in like 96,
That was
97, and those songs that they wrote for that album was fucking great.
Yeah.
That's when I
Blunt
really
Brothers
started,
and
like, yeah.
Brothers Under the Bridge.
That's when I
Yeah.
really started liking Springsteen. That's when he deserved my attention because he got back with the E Street Band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he got back with the E Street Band. Got the
Right.
band back.
Everybody needs a band. Like I would suck if I did this without the 2 of you guys. You know,
Nah,
it's just,
you'd be
everybody
all right.
needs a band. No,
You'd be
everybody
okay.
needs a band. All right, we got one more band, and we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna go to some dirty Southern rock and roll music. So you got like Nirvana and Alice in Chains and all this stuff, and then you got these guys doing this.
Tell me, did I see your baby laugh about that? If I come out like a dream, will you let me show you what I mean? Will you let me come on inside? Ooh, will you let it glide?
Dude, I love this song.
This album is one of my favorite albums of all time. I cannot listen to this without beginning to end. Like,
Dude, it's unreal.
I probably bought this on every form of listening.
I had a point.
I have it on vinyl now. Have you?
Do you really?
You ever have it on vinyl?
I
I
do
have
not.
it on. I have it on vinyl.
I had a point that I thought they were the last great American rock and roll.
Yeah,
band.
dude.
always.
For a long time, I felt the same way.
Man, we're listening to that with the headphones on, and it's playing. You know, we always talk while it's and we edit it out, but we're like, man, there's so much going on in this. Like,
They use the recording studio as an instrument.
it's like, dude, if there's a song you like, just stop whatever you're doing and just slow down and
Yeah.
just put some headphones on and listen to it. And you hear so much more. Like, I listen to a song I'm doing
Oh,
shit
sure.
around the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I'm folding laundry. I'm dancing to it. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, you just stop and listen to it.
Yeah, the whole album is unreal. Thorn in My Pride is probably one of my favorite songs of all time.
That's like the brothers just did the tour for Shake Your Moneymaker. And I was like, yeah, that's okay and everything like that. But when they do the anniversary tour of this album,
Yeah.
I will be running and I would pay top dollar.
Yeah, me too. Influential on us.
Crazy.
Right, we went and saw them. Ryan, you and I went and saw them with Jimmy Page.
Yeah,
I
Doug
saw that show too.
Yeah,
Were
yeah.
you there too?
Doug was there.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I saw because he went one time without me because I had to work at the bar.
Okay.
And I went one night because he went. If he was there too. Yeah.
No, I can't remember, but I remember going.
I remember
with
you and I went. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
Sorry, Doug. You.
No, I was working.
Forgettable.
I had to work the bar. I had to be.
Yeah.
Somebody had to be responsible one.
No, it was a great show.
But like Ryan said, this is the most influential album of my life.
Yeah,
down.
Southern
Yeah.
rock and roll,
It's
man.
it
perfect.
changed
It's perfect.
things for
Yeah.
me, but it like opened like a door up for me, like a sound, so I can listen to Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
and like get it. You know, like, oh, there's this more earthy toned sound of music. You know, and it opened doors for
That's
me. And
very
then,
well said.
And then maybe like 3 years later, I was in the Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Very well
and compare
said.
that to like the Rage Against the Machine shit that's coming out, like
Yeah.
all like
It's all
Ministry,
good,
all,
yeah.
all this other shit, man. You're just like you're getting hammered at all angles by all this cool stuff that's completely different.
Yeah.
It's just, man, 92 was a really
Great
weird year,
It was
man.
awesome.
It really was.
Yeah, I think it was better than 91.
I said 91 it seemed like the top tier shit that came out was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
But this is like everything. Music was just going everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if you're into rock and roll, it was like
92 was
a
the
little
year.
bit of everything, dude. It's just
Yeah.
awesome. Really cool.
Yeah, man.
All right. I think we've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes. We still got to talk about hip hop. And then I have a really long list of just other stuff. And then, we're actually going to play a special thing. We're going to have a guest interview. We're going to play a little bit later. We got a friend from another podcast going to jump in, talk to us a little bit. And then we got the electric chair and all of our other good stuff. So we're going to take a break. We'll be back.
Stick around.
Prisoners of Rock and Roll is sponsored by McCusker's Tavern at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia. There's something for everyone on the beer list and the jukebox in McCusker's. It's minutes from the sports stadiums in Philly, making it a great place to stop by for a few drinks before or after a concert or a game. Come see for yourself why everyone from Philadelphia Magazine to Playboy has called it one of the best dive bars in the city. Visit them at 17th and Shunk Streets in Philadelphia or on Facebook. That's McCusker's Tavern. All right, we're back from the commercial break. Thanks so much for sticking with us, man. All right, so we talked about rock and roll, and now we're going to talk about some hip hop. Let's go back a year. 91 was like, we talked about like NWA, right? It was starting to branch out. 92, I think, is when hip hop goes to white people in the suburbs.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it probably scared the shit out of everybody.
Oh my God, dude. Who's the first one we're going to talk about?
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre was like on every white girl's room, like a picture of him in every room.
It probably scared the shit out of everybody,
I don't
right?
think so. No, I don't think so. It was relatable to everybody. It was about partying. Like, you know, you get into gin and juice and all that.
It's
you know.
coming out of everybody's house.
Everything,
Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like suburban white kids.
Yeah.
And then all popular, what's the best thing about this album is Snoop Dogg is discovered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the hardcore party music like the Beastie Boys, and it wasn't the really edgy shit like NWA, and it wasn't the political stuff by Public Enemy.
No.
Public Enemy. It was like something you could just have it on the background, dude, and it was like that what the hell is it called? G-Funk.
Yeah.
Like that, like, yeah, man, dude, you could just have it in the background and it sounds cool. Here's a little 30 seconds of it.
Never know she could be earning her man and learning her man, and at the same time burning her man. Now you know I ain't with that shit, Lieutenant. Ain't no pussy good enough to get burned while I'm offended. Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, holy feel. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of some of that funky stuff. It's like this and like that and like this and it's like that and like this and like that and it's like this and like that and like this and Drake creep to the mic like a fan.
Well, I'm peeping and I'm creeping and I'm creeping, but I damn near got caught 'cause my people.
Man, Dre was like sound of the 90s.
Right.
Love it.
Right. This is like, what, a year or two before Snoop Dogg's album came out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And Snoop was like a star overnight.
Right. I saw a thing Kanye West said, man, if you put out a hip hop record, this is the one you gauge yourself against to see if
Sure.
you're like legit. So,
God.
Absolutely.
yeah.
If you were an alien and you came from outer space and you say, what is hip hop music?
Play this.
Play that album.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
And this is why I say, like, you know, I said before, as much as an East Coast guy that I am, I love West Coast rap. It's so laid back. It's so like just smoking the chronic. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, dude.
laid back.
Absolutely. All right, man. Let's keep rolling. We got 2 more albums we're going to talk about in the hip hop section. Ice Cube, The Predator.
The great,
yeah.
so great, dude.
Was it Wicked on this?
Yeah, let's get Wicked.
Here's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Of that.
Now this one dedicated to the man them call MacGyver. And no 007 James Bond spy man inside the area. Maximum respect to the man them call Ice Cube. And no bus, no deuce, no 3, 8, but 4, 4. Wicked.
Man, compare that to Dr. Dre, man.
Yeah, I know. Dude, it's
Smooth
fucking
to the
hard,
hard
dude.
edge.
It's so
Dude,
fucking hard.
his toughness in his voice, man. Like,
Yeah.
an unbelievable lyricist.
That's a great point, man. The
Absolutely,
hardness,
yeah.
the edge.
But
of
it's
his
so
voice.
funny. Like these guys were both in the same band together, and like one guy's putting out like this really hardcore sound. These other guys putting out this laid back sound.
Smooth.
Well, I thought like Cube was being still more real. Like NWA
Absolutely.
was like
Yeah.
a real thing. You know, like telling you what was going on the streets.
Because he wrote all the lyrics.
Yeah, and you know, just not with Wicked. I mean, that was like an underground hit, but like Today Was a Good Day.
That's what. That's a
That
great
was
song.
a huge song.
Still a great song.
It's a huge song for him.
But when we were listening to that, one of you guys said that Korn covered this
Korn
song.
Yeah,
covered
Korn covered
Wicked.
Wicked.
I love it.
Brian, you said
I love their
I remember
version.
hearing
Ice
it.
Cube open
Yeah.
for them.
I saw Ice Cube open up for. It was called the Family Values Tour, and the headliner was Korn. The opener act was Ice Cube, Rammstein, and Limp Bizkit.
Ugh.
But Ice Cube came out, dude. The fucking first song he come out, he goes, 1, 2, 3, I'll go with the Wicked. Dude, the whole fucking place went nuts.
It's like good for him, man. Like being like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna. That's a white people concert, right? That's
Yeah.
a,
It
that's,
is,
That's
but-
the brothers, but like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, I'll get out there and do my
He
thing.
did, dude. He fucking brought it. He held his own, man.
This album is fantastic on a different level.
I gotta get this on vinyl.
Yeah, it's fucking great.
All right, the last one we're gonna talk about that came out of the hip hop section before I got a miscellaneous bin, but we're gonna pass the mic, man. The Beastie Boys,
Yes.
dude. The Beastie Boys had a couple years off, and then they were back,
They're
and they came
back
out with like
and
Check the Head.
they
Check Your
reinvented
Head.
themselves.
Yeah, dude. They were
Absolutely.
We're in a party band anymore. We're a serious group.
like, right. Here's pass the mic.
If you can feel what I'm feeling, then it's a musical masterpiece. Hear what I'm dealing with, and that's cool at least. What's running through my mind comes through in my walk. True feelings are shown from the way that I talk. And this is me, y'all. I MC, y'all. My name is MCA, and I still do what I please. And I would like to introduce. What's up? I pass the mic to D for a fistful of truth. The name is D, y'all. And I don't play. And I can
I think they should make MCA a saint, like
Yeah,
an
sure.
official saint.
Yeah.
Man, compare that to like the silly you gotta fight for your
Oh,
right to party.
God,
it was
yeah.
Right, it was
bullshit,
like
yeah.
tongue in cheek kind of.
Yeah.
They're making fun of it. Like, dude, they took a whole nother level, man, when that album
Totally.
came out.
This album was, the one before this, everybody loves Paul's Boutique. That was like, oh, that's the album. No, this is the fucking album.
This is another album that we listened to like beginning to end constantly.
It was just, they were
Absolutely.
playing their own instruments.
They're a band.
know?
They're a real band.
It was fucking awesome. You mean, their next album was even bigger, but this album would really open the door for them to be a serious act.
I always remember watching the videos on like MTV and hearing about like they're back. And was like, but a 3-year hiatus isn't that big of a deal anymore.
It wasn't like Paul's Boutique at the time wasn't a huge success
Yeah.
at the time. It was like they had
They kinda
heydays, but-
overlooked-
and it was
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like what is this?
That's
it was
a cult
It was
following.
over everybody's head, and then this came out, and this is what was kind of going on, right? Like everything was just kind of starting. Like,
They were
you know,
doing the first ones to have the school bags.
They had the vinyl. They had the flannels. They were really rocking like all that look and like
Yeah.
the Nick caps and everything like that. They created a look and a sound that nobody else could even try to recreate.
They were one of the best concerts I ever went to.
Yeah.
We're going to have a shows about we have to
Concert
do,
moments.
Well, on top of that, I said before that we should do a show on the Beastie Boys.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, I think we
let's
could do a
it.
great show on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. The only other note I have in the hip hop stuff was I have some odds and ends we're going to get to. Was I don't think I have it in here, but Heavy D had an album that came out this year. I remember he was like that.
I loved Heavy D.
But he also in this album, Biggie Smalls was on it.
No way.
So it was a couple years
Oh, wow.
before it. Here's a song called "Bunch of Niggas" by Heavy D.
I'm not the type to fight. I'm blowing up quick like a stick of dynamite. So call 911. Biggie got a gun to get to your back. I'm smoking everyone. Quick to pack, quick to squeeze on the trigger. Who's in the house? A bunch of niggas. Who's on the microphone? Hey yo, who's on the microphone? Hey yo, who's on the microphone? I got the cruiser where the niggas better leave us alone.
Like, yo, beg your pardon. When I put one to the head, now the folks that starting fine, so I headline to the public. Get mine from a rap.
I really liked it.
Dude, it's fantastic.
That's
I never heard that.
2 years before Biggie Smalls'
Wow.
album came out, man.
Man.
Dude, I was like,
He was
we know
flowing.
Heavy D. We know Heavy D from like the
Yeah.
pop song. That's heavy as shit.
Dude, that's
Right?
great.
Doug, you were saying that. Like, that's
Dude,
really
it's great.
heavy.
Dude, I bet you Jesse knows this song. I never heard the song in my
Totally.
life. Jesse's like, oh, this is my
This is the
fucking
jam.
song.
I was just looking up like shit that came out
Yeah.
in '92. And we're
That
like,
was
oh,
a
Biggie
heavy.
Smalls.
That was a
great.
heavy,
And-
hard song, man. There
And he
was
was,
some
and he
aggression.
was changing. Like maybe he was changing. Like you
Well,
know,
I
you saw
think
something
he's
on the
some-
horizon.
I think that Heavy D used his popularity to show off, to showcase these young dudes, and Biggie was one of them.
And you said Busta Rhymes on it, yeah.
is on
Yeah.
there too. I mean,
Yeah.
he also was in that Tribe Called Quest already.
Right.
That song scenario, but
So there you go. Like, you know, so you have Tribe going on at this time. So like, there's a connection there, like for style. So
Sure.
Heavy's trying to, like we said, like he was always like a pop star. We're all sitting here like how heavy this is. It's fucking great.
yeah. Heavy D was great though.
Is he dead?
yeah,
he is dead.
he
Yeah,
died.
He is
Yeah.
died. Yeah, it's a shame.
All right. So now we're up to the miscellaneous bin. So I have a list of albums and songs that turned 30. You tell me if you guys want to stop and talk about any one of these. All right. Albums. Four Non-Blondes. Better,
Seen
Bigger,
them,
Faster.
seen them in concert.
They're horrible.
That Hey, What's Up?
I seen them in concert.
Yeah, we saw
I'm
them
sorry.
for Aerosmith. They were fucking horrible.
Okay. 10,000 Maniacs, Our Time in Eden.
Is she still in the? Yeah, she's still in the band.
She's
then.
still in the band. All right,
Yeah.
I'll play 30 seconds of this. Dude, I love this
I like.
song.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do
that's
like
good.
this
I
Yeah.
song.
love this song
Yeah,
so
me
much,
too.
man.
These are the days. These are days.
Dude, I love
great
her
song.
voice.
Yeah.
I love the song.
Such a
I
good
just-
feel-good
I
song.
love it.
She
It's
was.
just-
Some guy was like, "You had to dump these dudes and make a solo
Yeah.
album."
yeah.
That's a great. That's a great song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Great.
puts a big smile on my face.
Love her. Right. It's just happy. Feels
Yeah.
real a good
Yeah,
time.
it's a good feel.
AC/DC Live.
Yes,
Yes.
that was a great live album.
Yeah, it was.
Holy shit! There's a great DVD along with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Awesome. Annie Lennox, Diva.
Nah,
That was a
Dude,
big hit. She had that one song on there that was really popular.
I really
no
like
more.
her.
I love you or whatever.
Yeah.
Walking on Broken Glass. I really like her. We don't need to play the song,
Yeah, yeah.
man. I really like Annie
That was a big
Lennox.
deal.
I like
that
the
album-
Remix.
Yeah.
I like them too. The Biohazard, Urban Discipline that
Yeah,
came
right.
up in the,
That was a
That
in
was
big
the
album.
that was
Yeah.
that was heavy. You
That
want
was
to talk
a
about
great
heavy?
album.
That was
Yeah.
heavy.
Blind Melon.
Yes,
Greatest band of the 90s. Besides the No Rain bullshit, they're one of my favorite bands out of the 90s.
You had Ryan. You put Tones of Home on the playlist, man.
This
You
is a
know,
way better song.
All right,
than
let's play a
that
little bit of
No
it.
Rain
I'm
song.
surprised because I don't know much about him other than
This song is a killer song.
other than the song No Rain, and then he sang back up to Don't
Don't
Cry
Cry.
on the Guns N' Roses song. Here you go.
What do you think they would say? And I stood up and I walked away. Nobody here really understands me, and so I wave by. I'm fine. Tones of home. Said you don't like the way I'm living.
I know people love the B
Right.
fuck
It was
that
way,
big.
way different vibe,
That's
man.
Yeah,
dude,
dude.
they're a great jam band.
They're
a great jam band.
They were a great band, dude.
Like I saw them a couple of years ago with like obviously another singer, and I was so surprised to go to the show. And there's a big Deadhead Fish community thing going on there. I was
Get
like,
that
I'm
vibe.
like, that makes so much sense to me.
Yeah, I got that vibe out of it.
But give them a listen, Bruce.
Like,
Like,
yeah, dude, I'll check
you'll
it
love
out.
it. You'll love it.
I played this song in the playlist driving over here. I'm like, oh, it's a different. I don't. You know,
Yeah.
it's not that No Rain
No,
song.
throw that song right out the window
Yeah.
and
All right.
move on.
Wish by The Cure. That Friday I'm in Love.
That's a big
I
album.
hate them, dude.
Yeah, I do like The Cure, but that song I can take.
That's a
I
big-
can
Yeah.
leave it.
Fucking throw that out the window. Images and Words by Dream Theater.
Love it.
That was a
that's
big.
That was a big. Yeah,
Dude, they
was
were-
it "Pull Me Under"? Was that the song?
Yeah.
Let's hear play a little bit of that.
Lost in the sky, clouds roll by and I roll with them. Arrows fly.
I love this album.
Very
when it
like
came out.
Queen Strikey kind
Totally.
of.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. They're still around.
They're
They have-
very talented.
They have a
dude.
huge cult following.
Yeah, they had. You know, Doug said that whatever reminded him driving around. You know, with our friend, with our same friend. That song reminds me of driving around with him, like going to Tower Records. And man, that was really big. Like I wasn't really big on progression rock, per se.
Yeah.
But this album is just great.
Did you get into that, Bruce, when it came
No,
out? Really?
No.
I thought
I was
that sounds
never.
like-
I don't,
really?
I'm not a big prog rock guy.
No kidding.
Yeah, they're.
I
neither
remember
are
this album
mine.
when it came out, but I was never a big
Yeah.
prog rock guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's like you said, they're a little Queens righty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Little theatrical.
They're great
You know what I
musicians.
mean?
Yeah.
They're unbelievable.
All right. What else we got on here? The One by Elton John. That was a huge.
That was a big song. I remember
Fucking,
it.
fuck them. In Vogue, Funky Divas.
That was a big
Man,
album.
remember they had like My Lovin' You're Never Gonna Get It.
Yeah,
and,
that was a huge.
that was a
they
great
had
song.
two songs like Free Your Mind.
Yeah.
they were big like
They
girl.
were
great.
like-
I
They
love
did. They
them.
did a cover. They did a song with Salt and Pepper,
yeah,
and that was
yeah.
a really
Man,
huge.
what a man.
That's a
Yeah.
They were like the
big
girl
deal.
version of Boys to Men.
Yeah, they were,
but they were
yeah,
way
just like-
better.
just
way better.
They were
rhythm-
hot, man.
They were.
They were very
hot.
They were very
smoking
sexy.
hot.
They were very sexy. Clapton Unplugged came out this year.
Amazing.
Amazing. Garth Brooks, man. Garth Brooks was on the top of the Billboard chart for more than any other artist.
It's
And
unbelievable.
he had two albums,
He's the
one at the
biggest-
beginning, one at the end.
He's the biggest ever.
Yeah.
They would show his concerts on like Thanksgiving on like NBC.
Yeah.
Like, that's how
Biggest
big he was.
artist
He was
ever.
Beatles. He was Beatles big.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was huge.
Different countries, they don't speak English, but they speak.
They knew Garth Brooks. Jim Blossom, we talked about. Helmet.
Hell, that's great.
Helmet came out,
We
man.
have. Let's
Dude,
listen to Helmet.
Helmet. Here's In the Meantime.
I don't shoot you, so give it a smile. If I can hold your feet down, get to know for a while. To make do as I promised, I can keep without help. Never time to look in, until you're doing my hell.
Dude, what are they?
Why
are they
weren't-
punk? Are they grindcore?
Why-
Are
why weren't they
hardcore?
bigger?
Grindcore. I would say that
Why weren't they bigger than they were?
because they were before their time, dude.
Another
Jesus.
right.
They
Another
were
band
before the
that-
whole skater thing
Right.
really picked up. Like
nothing
Yep.
sounded like them
Yep.
when that came out, man.
they're a great band, and they were
Yeah.
just like they were like fucking super cool. They were super cool. Like you said, they didn't have long hair. They kind of had like the skater thing before it was like really popular.
I remember them being on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
I do too.
and like,
Yeah.
what is this?
Yeah.
You know?
And it still stands out.
I
Like,
love
it
it.
still
Yeah.
like sounds
yeah.
fresh.
Yeah. Great.
Oh,
Oh, man, what a great album that was.
All right, we're just going through this alphabetically. Here's another one.
Nice.
Pack it up, pack it in, let me begin. I came to win, battle me, that's a sin. I won't ever slack up, punk, you better back up. Try and play the role and you're the whole crew.
You know, that was like, it made being Irish cool.
Yeah,
Right,
for
right.
a second.
You know,
Yeah,
for
White people,
second,
Irish
fucking
rap
second.
music.
It was
yeah.
awesome.
It's iconic.
man.
That song's still big.
That's so you just hear the beginning of it and you know what it is.
Unless it's where they sample that from. It's from like a Motown
I have
song.
no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, no, I hear it once in a while on Tom Petty Buried Treasure.
But,
But it's like a Motown song.
They were good for what they were. They were basically a one-hit wonder, you know.
Yeah.
But man,
His
that
solo
song will
stuff,
always,
man, his Everlast is pretty good too.
A lot
Yeah.
of people do like it. I just know the
I-
one
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
He, you know, like for the Irish community, Danny Boy went out the window when
Yeah.
this song came in.
Yeah. What else we got here? Jackal. Remember Jackal?
Yeah,
Lumberjack.
yeah,
Hang on, yes,
the
I put-
lumberjack.
Hang on. I put the moment where they have a guy in the band who plays the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And I listened to it driving down here and took a screenshot of where it comes in.
Dude, that's some redneck shit, right?
But dude,
Oh
that was
my
a big
God.
that was a big hit.
I had the
I know,
album.
Ryan, you were all about that album.
They had another song on the album called "I Stand Alone,"
Right.
And it was a really good song.
Okay.
But
the gimmick. What a
that
great gimmick.
Yeah,
Right. Criss Cross came out. The
Love it.
Jump
Love
Jump.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
What else is on here? What else came out? The Lemonheads. They had
I
that
don't
cover
know too
of.
much about them.
They had that cover of Mrs. Robinson.
Oh right.
Right
yeah, I
on.
just heard that.
Like, and
yeah.
they had
yeah, it's pretty good.
Leonard Cohen had an album came out in '92 called The Future, which I really like Leonard Cohen, but I'm not going to drag you down and play it. Mary J. Blige, man, what's the
Mary J.
411?
was like, yeah, that was a
Huge
big
album.
She got started. Megadeth, dude, Countdown to Extinction.
Yes.
We didn't talk
Dude,
about that.
that was a
a
huge.
Yes.
That was
Huge
just
album.
that was just as big as the Black Album.
Yeah, that was a huge. We should play some of that, man. I know. that's
Hello,
on the playlist.
me. This is the real me.
Yeah, we got Sympathy for Destruction is on here. Let's play a little bit of that.
You take a mortal man and put him in control. Watch him become a god. Watch people's heads roll.
Good
Yeah, I
for
feel-
Dave. I was really happy for Dave for
Yeah.
the commercial success that he had with this
Yeah.
album, or they had.
Sweat and Bullets is the best
Yeah.
song on that album.
I feel like this was the last album I paid attention to
Yeah,
them, and it's
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
just.
I
grew out
see.
of it.
I try to see Megadeth every couple of years because I love Dave.
Yeah, Dave's the best.
He is the best. You know.
Yeah.
He had
He's the
such
best
a
angry drunk.
he had such a bad rep for years, but then he became this born again Christian that you don't hear about,
Yeah.
and like he's just like this sweetheart of a guy now.
Yeah.
But he made some great metal.
Natalie Nat King Cole. This song was huge. The cover of Unforgettable.
With her
It was
dad, right?
groundbreaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I had it on my list at the beginning. That won the Record of the Year, Album of the Year,
Yeah.
and Song of the Year.
Yeah,
for the
I believe it.
Grammys.
I
It was
believe
just
it.
like it was
everywhere.
man.
It was
It
everywhere.
was a huge breakthrough recording.
I don't know if I
Yes.
know any other song off that album besides
No,
that.
they
I
were,
don't either.
no, they didn't need to have another song.
But like what you said, like it was groundbreaking because they went and got the original masters
Yep.
and they added
Yeah.
to it. Nobody ever did that.
yeah, and then a few years later, the Beatles did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They
You know?
created a bird and all
Right.
that. Yeah,
Free as
Yeah.
a Bird. What else is on here? Neil Young, Harvest Moon.
Great album.
Came out. It's a great album. Nirvana, Incesticide. A bunch of B-sides.
yeah. I bought it. I
Still
bought it when
came
it came
out.
out. I
No-
liked it.
No Doubts.
That was
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
the
before
first al-
Tragic Kingdom.
Yeah.
yeah, that's really ska.
Is that when
Yeah.
her brother was still in the band?
No, she was the lead singer of the band.
Right.
It's really ska, like
Yeah.
Death Cab for Cutie, whatever the fuck, checkered, whatever,
Yeah.
checkered cab, whatever.
Peter Gabriel, Us. That was a good
That was
album.
a huge
Yeah,
album.
Digging in the Dirt was on there. That was a good album. Rage we talked about. R.E.M. we talked about. The Rollins band, End of Silence
Great
came
album.
out, man. Dude, that's just like,
He was A liar.
Was that the liar?
No, Liar was on the
okay.
next one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
really?
another. This was a whole nother. Here's 30 seconds of it just 'cause I put it on here.
'Cause it's Henry.
Because it's Henry Rollins.
I think you've got a low self-opinion, man. I see you stand.
Yeah, it was on Beavis and
love-
Butthead a lot.
I love
He was like
Henry.
Henry's all like,
huge,
not that he
enormous.
ever did Roy's or anything like that, but he gives out the persona.
He's
I'm
the-
this roid out
yeah.
fucking guy.
He is one of my heroes. I'm
Absolutely.
seeing him in March at the Keswick
At the-
Theater doing one of his spoken
Spoken
words.
word.
Dude,
He's
I
great,
fucking
man.
can't
I wouldn't
wait.
mind to see. I've never
Yeah.
seen that. I listen
Yeah.
to a ton of them.
I can't
in my
wait.
life.
I can't wait.
When is that show?
It's in March.
Still really good, man. Roy Orbison came out with an album. Dude, you shared this song, man.
Yeah.
I love this song,
Dude,
dude.
play it.
Could taste your sweet kisses, your arms open wide. This fever for you is just burning me up inside.
He was the best.
The effortlessness
Yeah.
upon which he hits those notes. It just,
And he was
like,
so old when he did that.
Yeah.
He made that album in 1987. And he didn't release it until after his death in 1992.
He was only in his 50s when he died, though.
Yeah, he looks
wasn't
so
that
much
old.
older than that.
He wasn't
He
that
lived a
old.
hard life.
He was only in his 50s when he died.
He was 52. when
Man, I
he
thought he'd
died,
been in
man.
his 70s.
No,
because you
he
see him
was-
with the Wilburys, man, and it's
he
just
looked
like
like
an
a
old guy.
old down man.
He's another one, man. We could do like weird, like because
Yeah.
everything around his family dying and
Yeah,
the fire
yeah,
and everything.
very tragic.
Yeah.
Did we ever talk about?
Tragic.
Did we ever talk about any?
I don't
of him?
think so.
We should.
We might have touched on it. I don't
Yeah,
think
but
we've
it's
really.
just- yeah.
yeah.
That's another show.
Yeah, the effortlessness upon
His
which
voice
he hits
was-
that notes is
Everybody
just, like,
says in rock and roll, he has the best voice ever in rock and roll.
I agree, man, dude. Just
This angel,
Like-
this angel,
yeah.
He would
like an
he
angel.
would do one take. That's it.
Doesn't he? Yeah.
the Traveling Wilburys documentary when they were all calling
Yeah,
him
I've
like
seen
Mr.
that.
Orbison.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
even
yeah.
George
Yeah.
Harrison is calling him
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Orbison.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool. You know, also has a really really cool voice. Is next on his list is Mark Lanigan from the Screaming Trees.
Right on.
I've seen that.
He's got a really
Yeah,
like,
he's great.
smoky,
Yeah.
smooth. Like
Did you hear the distant cry calling me back to myself?
yeah, dude, his voice is just like
yeah.
really.
They were
just-
so
just-
underrated. Why weren't they bigger? than
Yeah.
They should have been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I loved his voice. Soundtracks, we had a couple soundtracks came out. The Bodyguard came out, so that I Will Always Love You was
Huge.
Wayne's World came out, dude.
Great.
Bohemian
Swing.
Rhapsody
Great
came back.
soundtrack. Yeah.
Sublime,
movie.
40 Ounces of Freedom.
So I got a thing. When you're a freshman in college, they give you your college books, and then they give you this album. It says, "Good luck, kid."
But you know, dude, this is an out. I was never into this band when it came out. Not up until maybe the last 10 years.
No, this is the album.
It's
Everybody
great.
loves
It's
that
great.
one album.
Yeah.
But 40 Ounces of Freedom is the
Yeah.
shit.
Here's a little bad fish.
When you grab a hold of me, you tell me that I'll never be set free. But I'm a parasite. Creep and crawl, I step into the night.
Yeah, dude, that's another great album. What else is on here? TLC, remember like
They were a great
big
band.
they had
They were
a couple big hits.
They were sexy
Waterfall
too.
and all that shit.
They were
Yeah.
really into the condom thing.
yeah,
Yes,
that was
we
their
said that,
gimmick.
Whatever.
Left Eye.
Tools first EP, Opiate, came
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Tori Amos's first album came
Huge.
out, which
That was
it came out.
Is that what her was? Shotgun.
Kate Bush. No, that was Boys for Pay Light.
Okay.
This is like a
Her in the
Cornflake
Box.
Girl. and all
Oh,
that.
right.
I got some singles too. So we got what else is on here? Arrested Development, dude. They were
They were a great
cool,
band.
man. Right?
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
a couple big songs.
Yeah.
Billy Ray Cyrus was huge.
Yeah.
Achy Breaky Heart.
Achy Breaky Heart
Breaky.
came out. That was a fucking huge fucking
Yeah.
song.
Humping Around by Bobby Brown.
That was a big song. That was a big song.
Bobby
Yeah.
Brown.
I Can't Dance by Genesis.
That was a big dude.
Yeah.
That whole album was
They
huge.
were huge. They were
They played
giant.
the vet.
They were
Damn.
just here.
Damn, It Feels Good to Be a Gangster by the
Yes.
Ghetto Boys.
Nice.
Came out
Of
in
course.
92.
Now that is the greatest album
Oh,
cover ever.
yeah.
I
I
remember
agree.
they're in the hospital and they're rushing their midget
Bushwick-
into the
Bushwick
thing,
Bill.
and he has like a cell phone up to it saying he's all busted up and beat up and shit.
Yes.
Great,
Yes.
great
Yes.
stuff.
The Heights, How Can You Talk to an Angel?
That was a
Yeah,
big hit.
that was a big.
That was a
song.
It was a
huge
TV
song.
show. It was it was a
Yeah,
it was on
90210-ish.
Yeah.
Constant Craving by Katie Lang. What happened to her, man?
she's-
Who
I'm not a
cares?
fan.
She's up there
Terrible
with
song.
fucking Kate Bush.
Yeah. To Be With You by Mr. Big.
That was a big song.
Was like
Yeah.
that's like the only hair song that's come up in any of this.
That was a big hit.
Hazard by Richard Marx. It was a big.
I like Richard Marx.
I did too.
Richard Marx had a couple good songs.
I'm Too Sexy by Right Said
Too
Fred.
sexy. For
I remember.
the man.
I think I might have said this. I remember seeing that really early in the morning on MTV. I got up really early.
And you're like, what
And
the
I was
fuck
like, "What
is
is?" I'm like,
this?
"This is never going to catch on."
And it was huge.
Huge.
It's still iconic.
Yeah. Stay by Shakespeare's Sister.
I like
I
this
love
song.
that
This is
song.
a
That
great
was one of
song.
the
It's a great
chicks from
song.
Bananarama.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
I
great
love
song.
that song.
I do
have
too.
that on our playlist.
That's
but-
a great one-hit wonder.
yeah.
Baby Got Back by Sir
Sir
Mix-a-Lot.
Mix-a-Lot. That was a-
Oh my God! Look at her butt.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Her butt was huge.
People, but people still that comes on somewhere. People go fucking nuts.
Absolutely.
He was from Seattle. He was
Was
like,
he?
Really?
Yeah, he was like one
He's
of
like
their.
part of the grunge.
Yeah, he was part of the grunge era.
Rhythm is a Dancer by Snap was a big song.
I remember that.
Snap.
Yeah, that was big.
Damn, I Wish
Yeah.
I Was Your Lover
That
by
was a
Sophie.
good song.
That was a song about like a lesbian affair. Like she
Really?
was, she was saying it to a woman.
Who was it? Who's the artist?
Sophie B. Hawkins.
Okay.
She was
Yeah.
saying to like a woman who was like in an abusive relationship, which is kind of like I was like, all right, that's like 25 years ahead. Yeah, I think it was a cool pop
That's
song.
a great song, dude.
Life is a Highway by Tom Cochrane was
Great.
a big.
Yeah.
Until fucking Rascal Flatts
Right.
ruined
Yeah.
it in a car commercial. In a fucking car commercial.
No, it was the Disney movie Cars.
Yes, I Hate Everything About You by Ugly Kid Joe.
Fucking
was
Great.
another.
That whole album's great.
That whole album is.
I think
great.
that
was
album
awesome.
was recorded like in hours.
Yeah,
In
they were-
hours.
They were great. Save the Best for Last by Vanessa Williams. That song
She was so hot,
everywhere.
too.
She was great, nice to look at. And the last one is Rump Shaker by Rex and Effects. All they want to do is zoom, 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 and a boom,
boom.
So that man, that
Shake
is
your rump.
that is 1992 and 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm so
baby.
fucking tired.
92. I wish we could go back to 92.
All right. So we're trying a new segment tonight called Visiting Hours. And that's a segment where the prisoners of rock and roll chat with a guest for a few minutes about the almighty power of music. Hopefully we set all this up right. I know we're not the smartest. The three of us aren't the smartest guys. Just, if it goes sideways, just do what my parents always do and say it's my fault.
That's what I usually do anyway.
Yeah. Our first episode is our friend Lance Ingram from the Yesterday's Concert podcast. Lance, what's up, man? Thanks so much for joining us.
Dude, I'm so pumped to be here right now, guys. This is awesome.
What's
Hey,
happening,
Lance.
Lance? Welcome to the show.
My
Happy
man.
to have you.
Hey, guys.
My man.
Very thrilled, very honored.
Yeah. So tell us about yesterday's concert, man.
So yesterday's concert is not your typical concert review podcast. It's actually a little bit more, actually a whole lot more like Serial and your murder mystery kind of shows, in that it's really highly produced. It does a lot of bells and whistles. It's very, I'd like to say it's fiction, or it reads like nonfiction. It is nonfiction, but it's a story. Typically, I take a concert that I've been to. I've been to more than 750 concerts. So I take one of the concerts, and I like to tell the story. Usually, the concert means something extra to me. It was a life stage event, or just the first time I saw a band and what it meant, or just, there's been a couple of concerts that were important to the band's history and things like that. Like I saw Soundgarden, one of their last like 5 or 6 shows. So that's a really big show that I'll talk about one day.
Wow, that's a big
So
one.
it's just, yeah, it's a really cool story too. So it's just like that, but I tell it in a kind of a fictional way, and try to bring the story to life and make you feel like you're part of the concert. And just also want to kind of tap into people's nostalgia and like remind them of the first time they saw their favorite band or what it's like to go to a concert. You know, that's something we all kind of desperately needed after the last few years.
Yeah.
So it's just something I'm trying to tap into and get people aware of.
It sounds like a great concept.
Absolutely.
Dude. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, guys.
I listen to a ton of music podcasts, and because I don't have anything else better to do when I'm sitting behind my desk, and I have not heard a show that is like yours that goes into that detail. It's like, man, you have a niche that nobody else is doing, which is awesome.
Yeah, I remember I
appreciate
listened to it, and I was like really impressed by the quality of the show. He's like,
You mentioned in one of the emails between us that you were married, I think, right?
Yes, I am.
And your wife let you go to 750 concerts? My wife would kill me if I went to that
Yeah,
concerts.
same.
Well, we have to frame this up some though. 750 since like 2005.
That's
Okay.
still
So
that's a
it's
lot,
like-
dude.
Still a
That's
lot.
probably. I mean, the three of us go to a ton of shows. That's probably
Yeah.
more than the three of us put together. That's
absolutely.
That's a lot of music.
That's a
man.
lot of music.
She sounds awesome. Does she have a sister?
She's got two brothers, if that's your thing. So, but no, I mean, she is really, really kind and really gracious and understanding about that. My best year ever was 162 shows. That's not a normal year by any means. Normal year is probably 75, 100 max.
Wow.
So 162 is pretty crazy. I think I did like 6 festivals that year. So it was a pretty wild year.
Hey, can I ask you how old you are?
I'm 32.
Okay.
And that many shows. I'm like, all right,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
awesome.
You're making us
We're-
look bad, guys.
Right, we're all 45, and it's
Yeah.
like, man,
Yeah.
it's like we got 15-year head start on you, and we haven't been to that many shows. That's what is the first concert you went to?
So I don't remember the actual first concert I ever went to. I know like 750 is just kind of my like I have there's a website called Setlist FM.
Yeah,
that I used to keep track of. Yeah, so I keep track of everything there. But I mean, I know there's a good amount of shows that I just don't remember. So it's probably higher than 750 if I had to guess.
How many are Fish concerts?
I've only seen Fish 17 times.
Only 17
So
times.
I'm on the low end. So, well, I say it was 17, only 17.
No, I hear
that's
you.
great.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
dude.
No. Well, so like one of my college roommates, who's one of my very best friends, he from 2009 to today has seen more than 150 Fish concerts.
Jesus.
So I mean, like I'm on the low end in my opinion when it comes to that. So I mean, I met a guy at one show and he was just like, "Yeah, I've seen every single show since they come back in 2009." And this was like 2018 or something.
Yeah.
So it's like, good grief. Man.
Jesus.
Like, I mean, that's Fish for you, though.
Yeah, like I've seen him like
Fans
100,
are-
at least 100 times, and
Yeah,
Ryan's seen him more than
definitely.
I have. So
All the trust fund kids
Yeah.
go out there and, hit it up all summer long.
Well, let's swap the interview around. When was y'all's first Fish show?
94.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
94.
The Hoist album
Hoist
just
tour.
came
Yeah.
out.
the Civic
Oh,
Center, right?
man.
No, mine was at the Man Music Center.
Yeah.
And then I told you
Oh.
how awesome it was. And then they came back 6 months later to Philly and
Yeah,
we went again.
It was in November. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we went to.
No, it was the New Year's run. It was December.
was it December?
Yeah, it was
yeah,
New Year's
man.
run.
yeah, and it was at the Civic Center. That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it was definitely
Oh, man.
1.0.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, then we're going to have to link up for a Fish show soon then.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Yo,
That's-
man, I'm worried about those
What?
Barry Manilow tickets, man. I gotta, somebody's gotta miracle me, man.
Dude, I'm sure there's some old cougar out there that would be more than happy to do that for you.
That's what I'm looking for, my man.
All right, so out of all those concerts, what's the worst show you've ever been to?
Okay, so I didn't answer your question last time. The first show was in 2000. I say the first show. It's the only one. It's the first one I remember. It's the first one that I put a lot of context to.
Okay.
It was 2005. It was Jackson, Mississippi. It was Leonard Skinner and the Allman Brothers double
Nice.
billing.
Very
Right
cool.
on, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I grew up in Mississippi, so I feel like I just can never take the Mississippi out of me, no matter how far away I go.
That's great.
So that was a good natural first concert for me. So worst concert I've ever seen. I got to be honest, it was Bon Jovi.
Oh, wow.
When did you see them?
2017.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
Ricky
Sam-
Sambora's
yeah.
not with them.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're pretty
you gotta-
That was a big
yeah,
thing.
they're pretty bad without Sambora.
yeah,
The
Well,
one time
and it
I
wasn't
saw them,
even.
the one time I saw them, I left. I walked out.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and it wasn't even so much that the performance was bad. I mean, they were still a tight band.
Yeah.
The set list was just garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he started off with a hit, and
Yeah.
then he played like 7 new songs in a
Yeah.
row. Like, I was sitting next to these 2 women who were obviously on like a mommy night out.
Nice.
They were wine drunk, and they like,
Nice.
came in all silly. And I kid you not, they were sitting there talking about bath towels.
Oh
like
my
they were
God.
talking about what like kind of towels they were buying and putting in their like, and I was just like, what is wrong right now?
Yeah.
Like you got this sexy Bon Jovi guy up here and they're talking about bath towels.
Yeah.
That's how bad this show
I would have turned
is.
around like, shut up.
Yeah, he like phones it in too. Like I seen them. I saw them with my sister a few years ago, and I said this is the last time I'll ever see them again. He like, in my opinion, he phones it in. He's like, all right, well, we're going to do this song,
Right.
and he just goes through the motions and moves on
Yeah.
to the next song.
I mean, and for us seeing him, that's a home game.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Right? I mean,
It's
he-
definitely-
It's
right.
always been a home game with that band.
Right,
When they
he's
play
a-
that, like when they play Philly, it's a home game.
Right, that's
I
like
mean,
him. That's like Lance seeing
Yeah.
Skinner
Yeah.
in Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
home
we're
game.
seeing Bon
Yeah.
Jovi and Bruce Springsteen here in
Right,
Philly.
right. I saw Skinner probably like 3 years ago. I took my kids and they were, they closed with Freebird. I'm telling my kids like, at some point you're going to get old enough, you're going to understand when people are yelling like, "Hey, Freebird" and all that shit. I was like, you're going to say you actually saw it. Like that's a
Yeah.
moment. Like, most of those guys are gone, right? They're mostly
Yeah.
dead. I'm like, you're going to remember that you saw them actually do the solo for Freebird.
Yeah, totally.
And it went right over their head. And they're like, whatever. But, oh man, is there one show that you saw that you were like, that's the best show I've ever seen? Or is it all just kind of a
Yeah, no, I mean, there's
conglomerate
definitely like, there's shows that have stuck out. I mean, it's funny because every time like a concert happens, you get on social media and everybody, best concert ever.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you see it after
Right.
every single show. And, it's you have to remember you're running high on the adrenaline. They probably closed with their best song. They probably had the confetti cannons going. The lights were all going. And so when you walk out of a show, it's like, I need to take a beat, let this relax for a few days before I make a decision
Sure.
on where this stands. So I say all that to say, when I walked out of Paul McCartney, I was like, that's hands down the best show I've ever
Very
seen.
cool.
And it will, and I had no doubt in my mind that it would be there. It was you can say whatever you want about me. I don't care. I'll stand by this statement. It was the first show that I ever wept at.
Okay.
And ever since that show, I cry at almost every show.
Dude,
just because
Doug
of the
cries at every
music.
show he goes.
I
Doug
do.
cries at
Dude,
every
I saw
show.
when I saw the Police, I started crying because I thought I'd never see it happen.
that's rock and roll, man.
Exactly.
That's music.
Yeah.
right?
But I
Like
see
when
McCartney.
it hits you, it hits you.
Yeah, like I see McCartney twice, and they were always they were great experiences.
Yeah, he's always great. His band is
Yeah.
flawless. His drummer is sick.
He was playing
yeah.
Live and Let Die on the piano, and the fire was going off, and his hair was blowing like from the inertia of the flames coming out. And I was like, dude, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
And you're also like, I'm watching one of the Beatles,
You
right?
can chalk
Like,
it up as a
God,
Beatle.
yeah.
You saw a
Yeah.
Beatle. Yeah.
Oh,
really,
God,
really
yeah.
cool. Yeah, we've all
Well, and
awesome.
that's what got me was he played something and he dedicated it to George and he's playing on the
Wow.
ukulele.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
I mean that when he started that, I was just like, it was like a Viagra commercial. I was like, what is happening here right now? Like, this has never happened before.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy.
I think the one time I saw him, he did that also, and it was a very moving experience. Like, cause George loved the ukulele, and it was the perfect tribute to him.
Yeah. Really cool, man.
Lance, I have a question. What is
Go for it.
What is it about live music that makes you want to go to all these shows? Like, is there something? Is it the vibe? Is it like seeing your favorite bands? Personally. Like
Yeah.
what is
No,
it about
it's a good
seeing live
question.
music?
It's funny. I got asked this question the other day. I was in another interview and he asked me and he kept going. He didn't stop there. He started, he's like, do you have OCD? Is it a compulsion? Are you obsessive? And I was like, wow, man, like way to drill in on me like that. So thank you for not going there.
No way, dude. I go to a lot of shows myself. I just, another point of view I want to hear.
No, I mean, to me, it's not abnormal. It's just normal to go see the bands that you love.
Yes.
And I happen to be in a position like we don't have kids yet. We have, we're the Dink Life, dual income, no kids. So it's just like, why not take advantage of the time right now and go see all these bands that I love? And,
Yeah.
it just a lot of times, like, I was telling that guy too, like when you see a band multiple times, you pick up on the little nuances in the performances.
Yeah.
You pick up on the little things like my wife and I went to see Hamilton a couple weeks ago and it was my second time to see it. And we walked out and I was just telling her all the differences in just the actors, like
the nuances.
It was just just such little differences in it.
Very cool.
And when you have a band like Fish or Dead and Company, that you do the completely different show every night. I mean, it's just a completely different experience. It's so much more exciting than going to see Radiohead every night
Yeah.
where they just play the same exact thing.
Yeah.
It's just, so when you step into the jam band world, it's just a different experience altogether.
Totally.
But some of it is just like, it's like we were talking about Soundgarden earlier, like Chris Cornell died 10 days after I saw them perform. You never know. I mean, the way classic rockers are just falling off the map these days, you never know when it's going to be the last time you get to see these guys. You got to take advantage.
I say that all the time.
We say that almost every episode. We're like, if somebody's coming around, just go.
Now, Lance, is there a band or an act that you saw that you said to yourself, I never thought I'd be seeing this band? Meaning like something like, I don't know, like New Kids on the Block or something like that, because you've been to a lot of shows. Was there something that you like, I can't believe I'm seeing this right now?
Like Bruce is going to see the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah. Is there anything like
I
that?
was going to, yeah.
Is there anything like that in your ventures?
I mean, I did. I took my wife to see the Backstreet Boys. She wanted. They came to town. She wanted it. She wanted to go, and I was like, I'm down for a fun show. I don't like hate. Like, I mean, the thing about music, it's so, everybody has their own taste. Like, there's no such thing as bad taste, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can dislike music, but the thing is, like, there's something great to be found in I don't particularly like Cardi B, but I guarantee I could listen to one of her songs and find something enjoyable about it.
Cool.
So, I mean, why not go and enjoy a night out with my wife, seeing an artist that she loves, and, things like that. So, I mean, I try to stay pretty open-minded when it comes to stuff like that.
That's great, dude.
Good for you. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was trying to think. I know I've had artists like that I've gone. That there's been people that I've gone to see that I didn't want to.
Mine was Rat. Like she
Rat.
dragged me to see Rat, and I was like, "This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life."
No. I mean, I started thinking, and I saw Ed Sheeran in 2017, I'm not a fan at all. My wife wanted to go.
Yeah.
We had free tickets, and it was, that's what, talking about the shrieking teens. That's what it was like. And I just remember at one point I got out to go to the bathroom, and it was just like, I walked in and this other dude walked in, and we just like had this nod of like solace. It was just like, yeah, man, we're here. The
awesome.
women's restroom lines like wrapped around the building.
I imagine he puts a good show on, though. He's very talented. It's not my cup of tea
I will
either,
say,
but
it's really cool. Like I like Keller Williams. He's a cool person to see live, so it's a lot like that. He does all the, the loop pedal and everything like that. So he builds his own songs, so, I mean, he does put on a good show for a one man guy.
That's cool. He just would seem a little boring to me.
Ed Sheeran?
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be like going to a Coldplay show, I think.
All right, man. I think that's all our questions. So how can people find yesterday's concert?
We should be everywhere that you can get podcasts. If you can't find us on your platform or app, whatever that you use, you can just go to yesterdaysconcert.com. We've got links out everywhere there. So yeah, just come check us out. We got a new season dropping February 21st, starting with everybody's favorite, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Nice.
So
nice.
You want to tune in for that one? Yeah, it's a really good one. I bring in, my dad. I'm lucky to have a dad that loves a lot of the same music as me. We've gotten to go to a lot of shows together. So it's a really touching story about getting to spend some time with my dad as well. So really excited about that.
We took our dad to go see Tom Petty also.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Awesome. I took my daughter to see him on his last tour, and it was a really, really cool moment. Just her and I, and knowing that he passed away, like a month or two after that was, that's a very important memory to me.
I think you got 3 new listeners, pal.
Yeah.
There we go. Awesome. I appreciate you guys.
All right, Lance. Well, thanks so much, man, and we'll hopefully catch up again soon.
If you ever get to Philly, look us up. For real. We'll go to a show.
I'm going to come to Philly just to see y'all.
Yeah, come to the bar.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
All right, guys.
Keep on rocking.
Thanks a lot,
Take care.
And time for second thoughts. I got an email from somebody that didn't have a name. Just said, "I love your Christmas episode, but there's a reason you couldn't find the Roseanne Barr album. It's a fake. If you look at the album art that's floating around, it says, quote, worth 1,000 in the corner. That's an old website for people that post memes and photoshops.
Oh.
Get it? Picture is worth 1,000 words.
Okay.
But don't feel bad. This album was in the New York Post and the LA Times as one of the worst Christmas albums ever. They fell for it too.
Okay.
Wah, wah.
Thank you.
Now, we got some feedback from John Bizaha. I'm so sorry, man. He said, what about the survivors of February 3rd, 1959, about our episode on American Pie? He said, Dion DiMucci was on tour with Buddy, Richie, and the Bopper. He chose not to fly. Mm-hmm. He realized that the $36 for a ride was the same money that his parents paid for their monthly rent at their home.
Yeah, in South Philadelphia.
So he decided to stay home, and he's still with us today. He released his latest album November 2021.
God bless
Cool,
him.
man. Thanks, John. Thanks for writing in. Ryan, I think you had something, too.
Yeah, I wanted to give a few mentions out there. My very good friend and bandmate, John Coolin, Sarge, as they call him at work. He's, how can you say,
Correctional
John?
officer?
Correctional officer. He's just getting over COVID, but, he sent me an email about how he liked our guitar picks episode. John, I'm sorry I lost the email. I don't know where it is, but I wanted to mention it, and, hope you're feeling better. And, you know, I remember you saying Joe Perry definitely / Eddie Van Halen. You had a few on there. I mean, send us another email. We'll get to it. Another thing I mentioned is a very good friend of ours' mother passed away. Our friend Michael Palestino, the whole Palestino family that we know really well. Cass was a very nice woman. She was the crossing guard at our street for at least 30 years.
Yeah.
you know.
Right on.
Yeah. Wakes are a weird thing, so I get to one of his brothers, Petey listens to our show, and I'm saying, you're my brother. I love you. I'm so sorry. He whispers in my ears like, what the hell? You got a problem with Kate Bush?
Yeah, I heard him say that.
And his mother's wake. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, it's everywhere. That's everywhere, Bruce.
No, it's Kate Bush, man. Okay.
But Petey, we love you.
Yeah,
Thanks
we love
for
you.
listening, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sorry to hear about your mom passing.
Love you guys.
All right. Some music news. Unfortunately, the two music news stories about people passing away as well. So the first is Ronnie Spector, man.
Yeah.
Ronnie Spector, the lead singer of the Ronettes, she passed away at 78. The Ronettes were formed in the early 60s, and they weren't really big stars till they hooked up with Phil Spector in the Wall of Sound, and then he actually married Phil Spector.
I never understood why she kept the last name, though.
I don't either.
It's just like was Tina Turner. She worked hard for that name.
Yeah, but she was a Ronnie Ronette. Like, she's a big deal by herself. But unless she has children. Unless they have children together. She
that
wants to keep the
Spector
same
name goes a long way, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Not
so much anymore because he's a fucking crazy wacko.
He's shitbag of the week, too.
Right.
Yeah. He's always shitbag of the week.
Hang on. We can get him, too. We can give out multiple shitbags.
Fucking weirdo.
Shitbag of the week.
Fucking weirdo.
Yeah.
You know who loves shitbag of the week is the Blue Meanie.
Does he?
Yeah, he told me he loves it.
Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys said that "Beat My Baby" by the Ronettes is the greatest pop song ever written.
Love it. I love that song.
Everything about it, the girl group sound, the harmonies, the wall of sound, is
great.
Fantastic band.
And if you don't know, she sang the vocals on "Take Me Home Tonight" with Eddie Money.
Yes, with the Eddie Money song.
If you don't know who,
yeah, totally.
The Ronettes did that song. It's real famous on the National Lampoon Christmas Vacation, and the E Street Band is playing the back.
Oh, really?
of that too, yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a video for it, and the E Street Band is playing.
I'll have to go check that out.
Yeah,
Really
Christmas
cool.
special. The
Yeah,
Christmas one, right?
National Lampoon
Yeah,
Christmas
yeah,
song.
yeah.
That opening, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really cool. And then the other sad news is Michael Lang. So Michael Lang was one of the co-creators of Woodstock. He passed away at age 77 of Hodgkin's lymphoma. He was one of a group of partners that planned the music festival in 1969, where Creedence and the Dead and the Who and Janis, Hendrix and Joe Cocker and everybody, definitive moment of pop culture. He was also really involved in trying to plan that 50-year reunion.
they couldn't find
a couple
a home
years
for
ago,
it.
and
they couldn't find a home for it
they
because
just
Woodstock
fell apart.
'99 was a shit show.
He was in charge of Woodstock 99.
It was a
and
fucking
that was
disaster.
The disaster.
He was a fucking idiot for having that.
Greedy.
Yeah.
Oh, it was the Greed Fest. If you're out there, if you have Netflix, no, it's on HBO
It's on
Max.
HBO. Yeah.
There's a Woodstock 99 documentary, and me and Doug were there.
And it was
fucking.
It was awesome and horrible at the same time.
Disaster.
It was a great experience to be there.
We got to do a show on Woodstock as well. I know
Yeah.
we did the one on Monterey Pop Festival, but that's got to be on.
That was a good
No,
one.
Woodstock would be a great one. We'll roll in the mud.
Well,
We'll
yeah.
smoke some grass.
Yeah. All right. The electric chair. The electric chair is where we sentence a song for death for being terrible. And I thought we said we were going to send one of the most popular songs from 1992 to the electric chair. And that was Achy Breaky Heart by Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yes.
I'm surprised nobody ever tried to cover this and bring this back.
He probably.
He could do it his fucking self. He was on that other.
I think somebody covered it. Dude.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
he was like in a commercial.
Yeah.
Fuck. I mean, this was so big. Line dancing was huge again.
But then he came out with Country Road, and he made more money fucking off of that too.
His house is for sale. In
I can't
Tennessee.
imagine
It's
how
like-
much it is for.
It's like $250,000. Like
Really?
Where he and
That's it.
Well, he
like-
made all that money off his daughter.
It was before.
Yeah.
It was like they
Cyrus.
lived there. Like my wife and I are always looking at properties in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And we saw something, we're looking at it, and somewhere said, like, former home of Billy Ray Cyrus. And it was like, wait, what? It was
Yeah,
like,
really?
it's worse than my house in New Jersey. Like,
$250,000.
Yeah, it was like not.
I expected
it's
like
not-
millions.
yeah.
But
All
this
right.
song sucks.
Fuck them.
Oh, it's
My
terrible.
achy breaky balls.
Dude, it was everywhere though. It was everywhere.
Oh, God, it was. It was that.
I mean, if you still, like, my wife and I will go out, like, country line dancing. Once
Really?
in a while. Yeah, we go out once in a while.
This is a
And
classic.
And I'm fucking
Yeah.
terrible at it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, I bring a six-pack and kind
Oh,
of stand there and
sure.
stumble around.
Yeah.
This song, dude, the women still, like,
No.
I don't know where the fucking memo goes out that everybody, like, this is what we're going to dance, but everybody knows it.
It's crazy.
And it's,
Well, you know,
Good for him.
It brings people together. It's okay with me.
I guess, man.
It is
It's-
god awful. It's
The
one of the
mullet
worst.
and-
But there's a lot
things of
better
the
songs.
90s.
There's a lot better songs of dancing than this.
Everything that we played this entire 2.5 hours, this was the number one song of the entire year.
That's
It
not
was
hard
on the
to
charts,
Fucking
so-
That's not hard to
unbelievable.
All right,
It's a
let's-
tragedy.
Yeah, here we go.
We sentence you to death.
All right, man. That's it for episode number 33. Thanks so much for spending the last 3 hours with us. as we
Nice.
look- we
Well,
take
yeah,
this
we got to edit this thing
tour
now,
back in
man.
there. We got to cut
Or
this
you
shit
do.
down.
You got your work ahead
right.
of
We
you.
got 2 hours and 45 minutes. Holy
Yeah,
Christ.
shit.
Love it, guys. I love this shit. I live for this.
Man, if you like what you heard, hit that follow button in your favorite podcast platform and consider leaving us a review. If you want to hear more of all the music we talked about, we publish a playlist for every episode. There's a link in the show notes and on our social media pages. You can pay us a visit on Facebook, Twitter, or prisonersofrockandroll.com. And if you really want more of us, Ryan, I think you're on the Mixtapes and Tasty Cakes
Yeah,
podcast
man.
coming out.
Totally. Those guys are the best of the mixed taste and tasty cakes.
Awesome.
We talk about all the things that music came on CDs, 8-track, vinyl. I had a great time with those dudes. They listen to our show all the time. So much love to those dudes.
Awesome. You can also check us out on the last episode of yesterday's concert. You heard Lance earlier in the show. Dude, thanks so
Thank you
much
so
for
much,
joining
Lance.
us,
It was a
man. It was
pleasure. Anytime.
awesome.
You're the man, Lance.
We can't wait to either you're in Philly or we're in Tennessee and we grab a beer and we go see some live music. Beyond that, man, prisonersofrockandroll.com. We have a brand new website
Yes.
that we launched 2 weeks ago. We have a merch store. You can go get all kinds of cool shit with our logo all over it.
We already made a profit.
Somebody bought everything. If you're if you're listening to us, dude.
Thank you
and
so
you're not
much.
my mom.
Yeah,
Take a
yeah.
picture
Yeah.
and send a picture to us. We'd love to share it on social media. Or you can send us a picture at email at prisonersofrockandroll@gmail.com. So we'll be back in 2 weeks with some more insight into rock and roll. We already know what we're going to be talking about. I don't remember what it is at this point because I'm so
You're
fucking
fried.
tired. We've been here for so
We've
long.
been here all night.
And that's it. We'll be back.
Check you later.
Keep on rocking.
Peace out.
Just a prisoner! Of rock and roll!